Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto x Nico robbed Boa Hancock and Tashigi. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by JAY3000 and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1 The Arrival. The pirate ship was flying over the battlefield unbeknownst by the mariner the pirates. It was the ship of the Force Pirates. Ice Age. A figure shouted as it appeared above everyone. Tendrils of ice shot out from the man and touched the waves of seawater, turning them into huge walls of ice. "Kuzan. You brat," Whitebeard muttered as he saw who had stopped his attack. Akoji formed ice spears in the air as he fell towards Whitebeard. "Partisan." They flew towards the aged pirate, but he lazily raised a fist and swung it at the admiral. Before his hand could move very far, it stopped as if it hit an invisible wall. Cracks formed in the air. "Oh my," Akoji muttered as he felt vibrations in the air. His body shattered from the force, and the pieces fell to the ocean. Akoji reformed himself before he hit the water and froze the area underneath him. Ice Age. The ocean froze quickly. Fire at the Mobi. All cannons were pointed at Whitebeard's ship. "Well, isn't this nice and convenient to walk on?" one of the many pirates shouted out. Whitebeard's pirate army left their ships to fight and retrieve Ace back from the marines. But the Shichibukai. The Shichibukai all watched a battle between the marines and Whitebeard from their posts. Bartholomew Kuma watched impassively with a Bible in hand. Quixote Doflamingo looked excited as he watched the battles rage on. Deco Maria was in the same state as Doflamingo, except he was marveling at the amount of powerful shadows and bodies he could possibly retrieve. Boa Hancock was worried about Luffy. She could only hope that he was safe at the moment. Dracul Mihik got up on the stone half-wall in front of them. "Hufflepuff, you're going to join in too?" Doflamingo asked the man. "This is merely conjecture," but the swordsman put a hand on the large black sword that rested on his back. "The distance between us and that man." The pirates and marines continued to fight, with no clear advantage being seen. Weapons, manpower all seemed equally matched. Mihik swung his sword and a powerful, green, and rather large gust of wind cut through everyone in its way towards Whitebeard. "It's Hawkeye." The pirates and marines shouted. Cheeky brat. Whitebeard himself just smirked as one his most trusted son stood before the wave. It had been a rather fierce struggle, but eventually the strike was stopped and everyone saw who had stopped it. "No one touches Pop while I'm around," the MN said with a huge smile on his face. "It's 3rd Division Commander, Diamond Jaws." The marines and pirates shouted. A bright shine emerged from above the battlefield. The Asakani no Magatama.The yellow suit shoots lasers at Whitebeard surprised many of them. "Kizaru," the huge man said. The admiral had made his move and the lights got closer to Whitebeard. "Dear," he said as if it were a slight annoyance. "That's a little bright," as he squinted his eyes when suddenly someone else leaped in front of him. The beam struck the man and exploded away from Whitebeard. A man covered with blue flames flew above the aged pirate. His body reforming without a scratch and his arms shaped like wings. "And have you taken out the king right off the bat, you know?" the bird-like man told the light man with a grin. "It's 1st Division Commander, Marco." The marine shouted in fear and the pirates with happiness. The Whitebeard pirates. Kizaru's tone was one of amusement. "Sure are scary." Marco continued to grin at the admiral, ignoring the awe that marines and pirates alike held for him. "You got me. You liar." Kizaru replied. "Time to show you how scary we Whitebeard's pirates are," Marco shouted as he flew towards the admiral. "Please don't." Kizaru continued to shoot more beams of light at the Whitebeard pirate, watching as the man transformed into a phoenix. The beams exploded as they collided with his own, but the blue flames healed any damage he sustained. As soon as Marco reached Kizaru, he attempted a kick to the admiral's head. It was blocked by the light man. "Oh. Pretty effective, I'd say." Kizaru smirked at the Phoenix man. Marco just sneered. "You liar." He sent the light man flying towards a building and watched as he crashed into it, creating a large explosion. The marines were shocked that a man of Kizaru's class was sent flying away so easily, but their hopes rose as the man walked out of the wreckage. The admiral dusted his jacket as if he had just gotten a little dirty. "Giant Division. Watch out for aerial attacks," Kizaru ordered in a rare commanding tone. The giant marine troops they had started to advance. When suddenly, a large chunk of ice was thrown at them, courtesy of Jaws. And just as suddenly, a large fist of magma burst through the ice, evaporating it almost immediately. Admiral Sakazuki. With Naruto crew. The yellow cloak figure got up to leave the room when Naruto appeared before it. "Where do you think you are going?" Naruto asked. "To kill that bastard. He was the one that killed my parents," yellow cloak figure replied. "No, you are not," Naruto said. "But why?" yellow cloak figure replied. "You know why," Naruto said. But yellow cloak figure was cut off. "Sit down," Naruto said as the yellow cloak figure sit down. The red cloak figure with two twin katana on his back started to laugh. The yellow cloak figure turned around to the red cloak figure and said, "Shut up or I will kill you," making the red cloak figure run and hide behind Naruto. The monitor. The Kainu stood where the three admirals were sitting before the fighting. He hadn't even moved from his position. The pirates and marines alike screamed as the magma landed on them. The molten rock tearing and burning their bodies sent them into a slow painful death. One of the pieces flew towards Whitebeard, but he raised a bacento he had in his hand to block the rock. He brought it to his face and blew the flames out with one breath. "Magma brat, my birthday is next week." The Kainu chuckled, his voice sounding sharp and remorseless. "Too bad you will be 6 feet below by that time, Whitebeard." Next scene. "Go get them, Oars Jr." the pirates shouted. It was all slowed when the ice started to rumble from something big in the distance. "Ace is nice." The voice was loud and booming. It sounded like it had been spoken by a giant, but only bigger. "I won't let him die." Even the giants were shocked by the creature that appeared. "That's the descendant of Kunihiki Oars," one of the vice admirals muttered. "That thing's even bigger than a giant." The monstrous giant roared as it took out a blade. "Don't let him into the bay. He'll smash through the lines too quickly." "Ishishishishishi. That body. I want his corpse." Mariah drooled where he stood as he saw Oars Jr. "Fuffu, my whole body is tingling," Don Flamingo stated as he rushed forward into the fight. "Oars. Don't do this. You'll only end up as a target," Ace was screaming from the scaffold, still bound by his chains. "Don't worry, Ace. I'll be right there." Oars Jr. ignored the pleas of his friend as he picked a battleship up and smashed two of the giant marines with it. Oars have opened up a path into the bay. "Everyone. Charge." Whitebeard growled at how Oars Jr. was just taking all the hits. "There's a fine line between being heroic and being suicidal." "Old man." The giant called out to his father, "Don't stop me. I want to save Ace." He paused to cut one of the giant marines with his blade. "As soon as I can." A few cannons rang out and explosions covered his arm. "I can see that." Whitebeard shouted back, "Everyone. Go and back Oars up." Next scene. "Hey, isn't that the pirate empress? She's so beautiful." "Quickly. Oars is distracting them, so take them out." Hancock watched as some pirates fired at her with cannons. Moving quickly, she pulled a heart from her mouth and pulled back on it. Slave, she let it go, sending forth many arrows toward marine and pirate alike. Arrow. The little pink arrows pierced many on the battlefield, turning all that it touched into stone. The pirate empress avoided the cannonballs flying her way by dashing forward, kicking a man and his sword as she did so. His sword became stone and shattered from her attack, as well as the side of his face. "Perfume femur." Hancock shouted as she spun on one leg, striking everyone near her. The remains of the men scattered around, the marines shocked that she would attack her allies. "Hancock, what are you doing? We are on your side." A captain shouted. "Remember this." Her snake, Salome, coiled beneath her and rose her into the air. She looked so far up. She was looking down at them. "All men are my enemies." "She crazy, but damn she's hot." Excluding that one, she muttered quietly, then she looked at the other. "I never attack you, I help you out, remember that." "What? You attack us, yet you expect us to." The marines stopped their outrage as Hancock coyly hid her face from them. "By virtue of my beauty." "Ah, she's just too." The marines all agreed that they couldn't report her to their superiors. Next scene. The next thing they saw was Oar Jr. had just defeated the giant unit and walking towards Ace when Bartholomew Kuma stepped forward with Naruto crew. "White-chan, if you go through that door, I rip off your wings and show you who the demon is," said Naruto as the white-cloaked figure sat back down as the rest started to laugh. The monitor. Ursus Bartholomew Kuma had been standing on that wall. He had already compressed air into a small paw-shaped bubble shock. The bubble exploded when it reached Oars Jr.'s stomach. His sword shattered from the force and his comrades were sent flying away. The straw hat he had wrapped around his neck fell to the ground. It was light despite its large size. Oars Jr. remembered how Ace had spent hours making it for him and how the hat had served him well. "Everyone. Fire at Oars," shouted a vice admiral. Cannon fire erupted around him, covering him in explosions. With his vision fading, Oars spotted Doflamingo on the wall. But Naruto just put out his hand and said universal pull, and the lavender-cloaked figure was pulled back into Naruto as he wrapped his hand around her and whispered into her ears, "Where do you think you are going, Lavender-chan?" Naruto said as she was sitting in Naruto's lap with his hand around her. "IIWW was going T2T the B-bath RR room." She shuddered. "Yeah right," said the figure in a cloak made of paper. "Shut up Paper-chan," lavender-cloaked figure said while still blushing. The monitor. The Fuffu. Doflamingo floated above the giant and slowly touched the ground behind the large man. Oars Jr.'s leg flew off at the knee. Blood spilled from it like a waterfall, drenching anyone who had been underneath his body. "This is a riot." Doflamingo laughed loudly as he saw Oars Jr. try to lift himself up. He's reached the plaza. The Marines started to panic as they saw Oars Jr. get closer to the platform Ace and Sengoku were on. Just a little more, Oars Jr. rumbled out as he slowly bled out. He continued to crawl towards Ace, then Gecko Moria appeared. But Naruto crew stop right there. At not time yet, Naruto said, but Captain, the blue cloaked figure said as her eyes glows, your charm won't work on me, beside it is not our time yet, Naruto replied as the blue cloaked figure sat back down. The monitor. That stupid Doflamingo. Cutting his leg off when I said I wanted his corpse. A dark figure stood underneath Oars Jr.'s heart. Large bat-like shadow creatures started to rise towards the giant's body. Tsuno Tokage. The shadow creatures tore through the giant's body, coming within a few inches of his heart. Oars Jr. felt his life slipping from him as his hand came within a few meters of Ace. The last thing he saw before his eyes failed him was Ace's pained face. I'm sorry, Oars Jr. fell to the ground with a large thud, cracking the ground. Next scene. Oars Ace shouted. Whitebeard watched Oars Jr. fall to the ground. He didn't know if his son was dead or not. Ear wide open, Whitebeard. Glancing to the side, he saw one of the giant marines approaching him with a large axe. With one swing of his arm, the blade of the axe broke and he grabbed the giant's face and slammed it down into his quake powers. He made sure the giant wouldn't get up so soon. Arg. The giant screamed out before he died, then threw the body off the ship. Everyone. Charge over Oar's body. He ordered to his children. Naruto crew. Damn. Whitebeard's cold, said the red-cloaked figure. Yeah, I wouldn't want to fight against him, said the yellow-cloaked figure. Don't worry guys, I protect you, Naruto said. You realize the last time you fought him he destroyed you without waking up, said the lavender-cloaked figure. Come on Lav-chan, that was several years ago, Naruto said while he pouted. But you still lost, said paper-cloaked figure as Naruto cried in I'm tears as they all laugh. You may be old pops, but you still got it, Naruto as he looked at the monitor. The monitor? Fufu. This is so great. Doflamingo laughed. What's so funny, Doflamingo? Many pirates stood around the Shichibukai, attempting to surround the pirate and take him out. Fufu. What's so funny, you ask? Doflamingo smiled widely at the pirates. Why, this feeling at standing at the turning point of an age. Right now, this place is truly neutral. The man he spoke to didn't notice the maniacal glint behind Doflamingo's glasses. 13th Division Commander, Water Buffalo Atmos. A marine shouted. The Shichibukai lifted on hand and Atmos felt his body move without his will. Oh no everyone. Get away from me. He begged his comrades to run, but they were too confused. Doflamingo laughed as he watched the division commander cut down his own men. Pirates are evil, Marines are justice, Lord knows how many times those labels has been passed around. He continued to tell Atmos as he charged even more of his men. Next scene. Hey, what's that coming towards us? What in the world? Something's falling from the sky. The large object was falling rapidly towards the battlefield and everyone looked up at it in confusion. I told you that you were going over the top. Voices could be heard from the object. It was this idiot's wink that did it. Are you blaming me for this, Croco boy? As it came closer, all occupants in the war widened their eyes. Fufu, I wonder what the ice will look like after we get smashed on it. Oh. I'm rubber, so I'll be fine. You're so selfish, Straw Hat. But Sengoku. Garp. Sengoku turned quickly in his friend's direction. Is that another member of your family? Oh crap. Garp rose to his feet and held his head in panic. Luffy. What are you doing here? Naruto's crew. So that is Ace's little brother, I didn't think he would be here, Naruto said. Wonder if he is as reckless like Ace, red-cloaked figure asked. Monitor. Crocodile saw his chance. Whitebeard was just standing there, unprotected. It was time for revenge. He crossed the distance in less than a second and watched as his hook approached his foe. Remember me, Whitebear. The foot kicked his hook away and he flew back. Luffy, with steam coming from his skin and his limbs black, glared back at him. Straw Hat, I thought we had a deal. Crocodile shouted. So, this guy is Whitebeard, huh? Well, he means a lot to Ace, so you're not touching him. Luffy stood before the strongest man in the world without a trace of fear on his face. That's Straw Hat. Luffy looked behind him to see that Whitebeard was looking down at him. The two stared at each other while the fighting seemed to stop to watch the two pirates. Are you here to save your brother? Whitebeard asked. Luffy jumped a little and remembered where he was. Yeah. I'm here to save Ace. Fool, Whitebeard growled at the rubberman and everyone thought the younger pirate had a death wish. Don't you know where you are? You won't be able to do anything by throwing your life off. Shut up. Luffy ignored Crocodile to glare at Whitebeard. I going to be the Pirate King as he raised a hand and pointed at himself with his thumb. But Naruto's crew. He must have some big balls to talk to Whitebeard like that, said the yellow-cloaked figure. Or he could be an idiot, Naruto said as they all laugh. Monitor. Alright. I'm coming, Ace. Luffy jumped off the Mobi, headed towards the platform where they held Ace. A pleasure meeting you, Whitebeard-san. That brat's Whitebeard smirked. It would be interesting to see what that Straw Hat brat would do. Next scene. The Marines were crawling all over the place. Luffy dodged several weapons swung at him and used a whip to clear them out of his way. Straw Hat Luffy. Prepare to meet your end. Next scene. Bartholomew Kuma stood on the wall, still in position, with his Bible pocketed. He was charging a laser in his mouth. The wall exploded and Ivankov, with the rest of the prisoners, began to make their move. Kuma, what are you doing? The Akama King couldn't believe that his friend was capable of not only firing beams from his mouth, but that he would attack Straw Hat Boy. Fuffu, nice meeting you, Revolutionary Commander Ivankov. Doflamingo walked up to the Akama King. Don't you know? The world government modified Kuma to be a human weapon. Ivankov would learn that his friend was no more. That he had been modified so much that Bartholomew Kuma was now dead. Next scene. Stay back, Luffy. Ace screamed at the boy approached the pirate in disbelief. I have my own adventure, my own family. A weakling like you coming to save me. What do you think you can possibly do? Why are you here, Luffy? 'Cause I'm your brother. Luffy roared back as he ran through the navy when Moria appeared with his zombie solider to stop him, but Jinbei destroyed them with seawater. Luffy, go and save your brother, I will handle Moria. Jinbei said as Luffy ran past him. Thank you, Jinbei. Luffy shouted. Sengoku started talking about Luffy while he was dodging blow from a giant. Ace is not Luffy's real, but an adopted brother who taken in by Luffy's grandfather. Grap. Sengoku roared as everybody listened. Luffy's real father is the world most wanted man dragon. Which shocked a lot of them, even Jinbei, but Hancock didn't care. Naruto's cruise. The dragon. We have to go right now and save the kid before he dies or dragon will kill us, red cloaked figure shouted as started to run to the control room. Stop right there, Naruto said. The but red cloaked figure said. No buts, it's not time yet, beside I can protect us from dragon, Naruto said. Like the last time, blue cloaked figure said. Come on, that was 2 years ago, I stronger now, Naruto said as they all laughed at him. Worthless crew, they don't even believe in me, Naruto muttered. I believe in you, Naruto-kun, said the lavender cloaked figure. Thank Lav-chan, Naruto replied. Monitor. Straw Hat. A woman wearing glasses stood in their way now. Get out of the way, Tashigi. A jut came from out of the nearby smoke. Slamming the jut into Luffy's face, sending him skidding across the battlefield. Ah. It's you, Smokey. Luffy said as he looked up and saw his old rival. That's Smoker. Smoker shouted as he emerged from the smoke that surrounded them. He had used some fires to cover his approach. I don't have time to play with you. Luffy shouted as steam came off his body. Gum gattling as Smoker flies into the air to dodge the attack. Don't ignore me, Straw Hat. Tashigi roared as he attacked Luffy, only from him to vanished. Where is he? Smoker asked when Luffy appeared in front of him. Jet gatling. Luffy's attack hit Smoker, but it wasn't effective. White launcher. Smoker shouted as he attacked Luffy by slamming the tip of the jut into Luffy's neck and they plow into the ground. Smoker pinned Straw Hat. Now it all makes sense, Smoker said over a pinned Luffy. Why dragon saved you, F. How dare you, was heard and Smoker was kicked away from Luffy. Boa Hancock stood in front of Luffy, shielding him from the smokeman. But Naruto crew. That team, I going to kill him, shouted the black cloaked figure as a machine gun appeared in his hand. Easy Black, you get your revenge soon, Naruto replied. Monitor. How dare you touch my beloved like that? Hancock roared in anger. The kick hurt him, but they don't normally do. A confused Tashigi thought. So that hockey? Smoker said to himself. Hancock. Smoker shouted as he raised his judder, do you mean to a band? Silence. Hancock screamed back. I am filled with such rage that I cannot even hear your words. The pirate empress looked more fearsome than anybody had ever seen her. I will chop you up and feed you to my beast. Hancock. Luffy picked himself up and saw who had helped him out. Hi. Hancock turned to blush heavily at the rubberman. Thanks again. You keep helping me out. Luffy said with a smile on his face. Luffy, you have to keep moving on. I'll take care of this guy for you. Putting her sweet smile back on, she hoped that Luffy would manage to save his brother. Naruto crew. Looks like you lose your chance, Captain, she already taken red cloaked figure. Don't be stupid, Luffy can't handle a woman like that, she will be mine, Naruto replied. You now, she will try to kill you the moment she sees you, yellow cloaked figure. I'm sure she has already forgiven me, Naruto replied. You made her hate men even more, paper cloaked figure said. Monitor. Thanks, Hancock. I really owe you. The rubberman hugged her and ran off. He missed how the Shichibukai collapsed to her knees from being overwhelmed by her feelings for him. Naruto's crew. Boy, she has it bad for Straw Hat, yellow cloaked figure said. Yeah, but I thought she hated men, black cloaked figure replied. Maybe he is an exception, paper cloaked figured replied. Maybe you are right, lucky fool, black cloaked figured said. Then he was hit by an invisible force ending him across the room. Monitor. It then shows Luffy running towards Ace, then he sees Hawkeye with his black sword in his hand. Naruto's crew. Akanomi no Minku, Hawkeye Mihik yelled red cloaked figure as he pull out his two twin katana to slash the monitor showing Hawkeye, but it was blocked with a katana with a TS on the handle. Easy there, Red, his time will come soon, Naruto said as he pull away his sword. Yes, Captain, Red cloak figured said as sat back down. You will pay for what you have done to me and my crew, Takanomi no Minku. Monitor. Luffy jumped to the side just as a gust of wind passed by, cutting everything in its way. Ahead, there stood one man Luffy knew he couldn't fight. Dracula Mihik remained where he was. He only looked at where Luffy was. Hoping to use some of the fighters on the field as a shield, Luffy jumped behind some pirates. The rubberman was disappointed to find that his body was cut from the swordsman's skill. It was a testament to the greatest swordsman in the world's skill that he had not cut the pirates. You still remain in my range, Straw Hat Luffy. The man's voice sounded as stoic as ever as Luffy fell to the ground, bleeding. Jinbei walk in front of him, Takanomi no Minku. If you want Ace's brother, then you will have to go through me. Jinbei, Luffy said. Go and save Ace, the fishman replied as Luffy ran off. Son of the sea, Jinbei, Takanomi no Minku raises his sword at Jinbei. Fishman karate. Jinbei shouted as went into his stances. Fire. The marine shouted as they fired cannonballs at them. Jinbei shouted arabesque brick fist, the cannonballs frozen in mid-air by the force of the attack. Takanomi no Minku swung his sword cutting the cannonballs in half, causing the balls explode one at a time. Jinbei shouted, I won't let you touch Luffy-kun, sharkskin palm thrust to block the explosion, no die shark brick fist as he attacked Takanomi no Minku, who thrust his sword forward to meet Jinbei's fist. As the two meet there was a green energy and Jinbei was sent flying into the air and crashing down right through the ice floor into the water. Naruto's crew. No. Deep pink cloaked figure shouted as it rushed towards the door but was stopped by Naruto's voice. Stop, Jinbei is alright, Naruto said. But pink cloaked figure was cut off. That attack is too weak to do any real damage, Naruto replied as the cloaked figure sits back down. Monitor. You are in my range, Straw Hat Takanomi no Minku went after Luffy, who was stuck into the wall as he jumped into the air and came down with his sword pointed at Luffy, but Luffy was able to escape just in time to avoid the sword. Luffy, while still in second, was about to attack Takanomi no Minku Gum Jet Bazooka when he suddenly pulled back his hand. Naruto's crew. Shit, that kid was luck, Naruto said. Why is that blue cloaked figure asked. If he didn't he would have lose his hands, Naruto replied. Naruto-kun, did he just use Kenbun-shoku Haki, lavender cloaked figured asked. Yeah, and I believe Takanomi no Minku knows too, Naruto replied. Monitor. Across the battlefield, Crocodile, haha, I will never join you, weak fool. I only work with people at my level, as he laughed, but if you insist then you could be my underling. Doflamingo laughs, for you are a bigger fool than I thought for turning down my offer. Sable's Crocodile shouted in an attempt to blow Doflamingo away. The attack is not confined to Doflamingo, though, as Buggy is accidentally sucked into the vortex as well. Next scene. Mihik moved his head to the side as a fist came shooting past him. He attempted to cut it, but it had already retracted. He could sense the rubberman's attacks, but Luffy was able to do the same. The two traded strikes, but none connected. Mihik cut one of the gigantic ice walls in half. Luffy's fist smashed hundreds of soldiers with just one blow. Luffy gave a tremendous shout, but Hawkeye's never faltered. He had felt willpower equal to, if not, stronger than the Straw Hat captains. A storm was blowing their way and Luffy looked up at it. Mihik took this chance to cut the rubberman in half. Gum Jet decoy. He managed to avoid getting cut by replacing himself with Buggy. The man was cut completely in half. Straw Hat. You damn bastard. The man's halves reconnected and he screamed at the rubberman. Damn it. You. He pointed to Mihik, you're Hawkeyes, aren't you? Mihik replied. I'll show you two, ignored Captain Buggy. Buggy shouted as he looked at the swordman Buggy Ball as he shoot a red ball at Mihik, who used his sword to hit back at Buggy. Boom. Mihik noticed that Luffy had escaped. This is not over, Straw Hat Luffy, as he chased after Luffy. Luffy, having finally gotten a break, dashes back towards the platform, not seeing Mihik coming at him. With Marco. Seeing that Mihik was going to attack Luffy again, Marco calls over Whitebeard's 5th Division Commander Vista, I'm counting on you to keep Ace's brother alive. Hi, Vista shouted as he ran over to intercept Mihik, thus saving Luffy. Who are you? Luffy asked his savior. No time to talk, Vista said as Mihik jumped back, go and save Ace. Thanks, old man. Luffy shouted as he ran off. The flower swordsman Vista Mihik recognizes him. "It's an honor to recognize by the world's strongest swordman," Vista said with a smile on his face. Mihawk had heard of him. Mihawk replies by saying only a fool would not have heard of you. Next scene. Luffy continues to make his way towards the platform. Mihawk comments on how he has the strange ability to make anyone around him an ally, an ability that is the most dangerous in the world, as he slashed swords with Vista. Next scene. "It's time, cut the feed," Sengoku ordered, so that the civilians would not lose faith in the Marines, as such a tragedy would be too much for them to witness. All they needed to hear after the battle was that we won. Sengoku signaled Sentomaru to begin the Pacifista squad to advance behind the attacking pirates. He had to also order 2 pacifistas to fly ahead to stop Straw Hat Luffy's approach. The pirate was gaining more ground with each ally that managed to stop anyone's attempts to slow him down. Next scene. Suddenly, more battleships begin to appear from behind. As the pirates note that they are not allies, Whitebeard, Luffy, and Ivankov recognize those on board. Sentomaru has arrived at the battle, backed up by an army of at least 9 pacifista. Naruto's crew. "Shit, so that what they have been hiding," Naruto said. "You knew about this, Captain," said the black-cloaked figure. "I knew they had created a copy of Kuma, but not that many," Naruto replied. "So that why we have not entered the war yet?" asked the pink-cloaked figure. "That one of the reason," Naruto replied. "You said one of the reasons, that mean you have more reason. What are they?" Paper-cloaked figure. "Well, I wanted to see what their forces can do," Naruto replied. "Now that all of your worries have been proven, are we ready to join the war?" asked a red-cloaked figure. "Not yet," Naruto said. "You have another reason, don't you?" yellow-cloaked figure asked. "Yes, the force tells me that they are trying to trap all of us in a way that we can't escape," Naruto replied. "Do you know how?" asked lavender-cloaked figure. "No, and that's the problem," Naruto replied. Monitor. It showed Sengoku talking in a snail. "Attention all marine, get off the ice. I repeat, get off the ice." You heard the man fall back. Next scene. Hawkeye and Vista slashing swords. They were evenly matched. Then Vista jumped into the air and shouted Rose Rondo, and Rose's leaves started to rain down out of nowhere. Impressive Hawkeye, but he kept his cool and swing his sword. World's strongest slash, destroy the rose leaves and head towards. "So are you?" Vista blocked it with his 2 sword in an X form, then redirected into the air. The Shichibukai turned around to see the marine retreating, so it's time. He had been informed of Sengoku's plan, and so they were told to be in the courtyard off the ice before it was too late. It seemed like our duel have to cut short as he resheathed his sword and walked towards the courtyard. "Yeah, see you around," Vista replied as he went back to help the others. But Naruto crew. "What the hell just happened?" shouted black-cloaked figure. "It seems like Sengoku is about to make his move and does want the public to see it," Naruto replied. "So what are we going to do?" Captain White-cloaked figure asked. "Cut their feet and activate the eye in the sky," Naruto replied. "Activating now," shouted paper-cloaked figure as a hatch out at the bottom of the ship, a bird flew out and started descending. "There is a great disturbance in the force," Naruto said as he fell to his knees. "What do you mean, Captain?" asked lavender-cloaked figure running over to him. "Something bad has happened," Naruto replied. "On the battlefield." "Ah, squad. How's the battle going?" Whitebeard greeted his son as he got up onto the deck of the Moby squad. Captain of the Maelstrom Spider Pirates, looked a little injured, but relatively okay. His clothes were stained with blood, and his sword had its fair share of the crimson liquid as well. He sheathed the sword and looked his father in the eyes. "They're pushing us hard, but we're gradually gaining ground against the Marines. Those pacifistas really did a number on our forces. Yes, their weapons are strong. Soon, I'll be joining the fight, so don't worry about a thing, my son." Whitebeard watched as Squard walked in front of him to peer over the side of the ship. "You've always been there for us, Pops." The man sighed and drew the larger sword tied to his waist. "If it weren't for you, I imagine most of us wouldn't have had a reason to live anymore." His father put a large hand on his shoulder. "Everything will be alright, Squard. We'll rescue Ace and all of us will go back home." Squard laughed shakily. He turned to grin up at his father. "Yes, all of us will be going home." Whitebeard returned with a grin of his own. But Naruto's crew. "Captain, we turn on the monitor now," Paper-Cloaked said as they turned on the screen. The monitor. Swinging his massive fist to the side, massive cracks formed in the air. The giant walls of ice that had enclosed the pirates into the trap the Marines had caught the Whitebeard Pirate Alliance and exploded with an unreal force, sending large amounts of shards into the air. As it all cleared, the walls that had kept them all in were reduced to nothing. Moisture in the air. "If any of you want to leave, you may." Whitebeard addressed his sons with a voice filled with anger. "I will not be ashamed. But if you wish to stay, know this." Whitebeard glared directly at Sengoku. "Stay out of my way." Naruto's crew. Naruto's crew was still shocked to see the power of Whitebeard. He was a monster. "Shit, did you just see that?" Naruto red-cloaked figure shouted. "That not what I looking at. How did Pops get that stab in his chest?" Naruto asked as his anger rises as everybody started to float in the air. Naruto-kun, please calm down or you will destroy the ship, yellowed cloaked figure shouted. You will get your revenge on the fool who did that, shouted paper cloaked figure trying to calm down Naruto, then they all came crashing down. Thank Kami, they all thought. We are entering the war now, Naruto shouted. Hi, Captain, Lavender cloaked replied as she prepares the ship to descend. Next scene. Whitebeard, Vice Admiral John Giant shouted, thinking he could kill a weakened Whitebeard. Shavy as he vanished and appeared behind Whitebeard. John swing down his sword on Whitebeard who block it with his weapon. You're in my way, Whitebeard told him as he easily push away the giant's sword, making John lose his balance. Then Whitebeard drop his weapon and grab the air around him, making everything spin, and I mean everything. Then an earthquake shook up the place, making every fall, then the whole island. The sea started to tilt, thus destroying some buildings, the ice split, and a great tsunami came carrying a navy ship with it, crashing it down on other ships. Fufu Doflamingo laughed like a madman seeing the destruction around him. Damn bastard, John Giant attacking Whitebeard again as he swing his sword down at Whitebeard. Too slow, brat. Whitebeard was too fast for him and jumped into the air and punched John in his stomach with his left fist coated with his DF power, sending a shock wave through the giant's stomach and destroying everything it met and head toward Ace, but suddenly it was deflected by the three admirals. Next scene. Luffy had ignored how the Marines had retreated from the ice to fortify the walls that barred his way. As soon as the rubbermen reached the walls, they rose high into the air. Unbeknownst to Luffy, walls had surrounded the entire bay that had been frozen by Aokiji before the war broke out. The only ones left on the ice was the Whitebeard Pirate Alliance, the pacifistas, and some stranded Marines that were unable to make it back to the mainland. In a rage, Luffy pounded his fists against the walls, unable to do more than to dent the thick metal obstacle. Next scene. Magma started pouring down Akanu's hand them, he shouted Ryusei Kaizen, meteor volcano, as he started lava into the air. Naruto's crew. Don't worry guys, it won't even touch us, Lavender cloaked figure set up, everybody mind at ease. Monitor. Giant magma fist. Came raining down, destroying everything it touches, ship and pirates. As the fist rained down, it also melted the ice too, forcing the pirates back. As they turned back, they met up on some pacifistas who attacked the pirates, then a magma fist hit the Mobi, destroying it. Naruto's crew. How far are we? Naruto shouted. Still too high for us to jump from, give me 10 minutes, Lavender replied. Make it 5 minutes now guys, are you ready? Naruto said. Hi, they all shouted. Red, when we land you will have Mihawk. He started, then he turns to black cloaked figure. You have Smoker and any pacifistas, Naruto said, then he turns to lavender cloaked figure. You have Doflamingo, Naruto said, then he turns to white cloaked figure. You have Kuma, Naruto said, then he turns to blue cloaked figure. You have Moria, Naruto said, then he turns to pink cloaked figure. Pacifistas and any vice admirals that attacks you, Naruto said, then he turns to paper cloaked figure. You have Kazera, Naruto said, then he turns to yellow cloaked figure. I know you want Akainu, but you know the reason you can't, so you will have Aokiji, Naruto said. I will take care of Akainu. You will only engage them on my command, Naruto replied. Yes, Captain. They all shouted. Now it's time to get this show on the road. He said as they continued to descend. Monitor. The Marines were planning on eliminating all enemy pirates as they were trapped in the walls, but Oars had foiled that plan. They then changed to intercept and catch the pirates in a bottleneck around the opening. Concentrating all fire on the opening would eliminate most, if not all, of enemies that would dare cross that path. They didn't expect a torrent of water to leap over the wall and crash into the earth of Marineford, depositing the one riding the current. Monkey D. Luffy, captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, stood hunched over in the middle of the most elite Marines the world government had to offer, holding a broken mast. All three admirals stood behind the group, prepared to defend any attacks that would reach the execution platform. With a mighty roar, Luffy felled every Marine around him except for the admirals. You certainly are a bold one, Akainu snorted derisively, Dragon's son. Geez, isn't this stage a bit too much for you, Straw Hat? Aokiji looked less than pleased as he let loose another sigh, his breath forming a little mist. You certainly are a scary one, Straw Hat. Luffy Kizaru drawled out slowly as he grinned at the pirate captain. Luffy's eyes settled on the admirals as he let out a low growl. Naruto's crew. Suddenly Naruto got a vision and got up and started running to the escape pad. Shit, they going to kill Ace, Naruto shouted. Naruto, we are still too high, yellow cloaked figured shouted, but Naruto didn't listen. Here on into an empty pad and turn it on. Shit, lavender faster, paper cloaked figured shouted. High, lavender cloaked figure replied as they descend faster. Marine Ford. The rubberman jumped into the air, swinging the large mass towards the three powerful enemies in his way. With a quick touch from Aokiji, it froze in midair. Undeterred, Luffy kicked at a speed that was too much for many of the soldiers, with a cry of stamp gatling. Equally unfazed, the frozen mast pieces passed through the admirals. They had been a little unprepared when Luffy touched the ground, his legs compressing and decompressing as he rose to shoot past them. In a flash, Luffy covered most of the distance between him and Ace. Luffy saw Ace's eyes widen as he realized how close Luffy was approaching the platform. "Sorry. But you're far too slow." Looking to his left, Luffy saw Kizaru poised to kick him in the face with a kick charged with his light powers. Instantly, the rubberman found himself crashing into one of the many buildings that lined the coast of Marineford. Prepared to execute the prisoner. Shocked, Luffy pulled himself from the rubble to see the two executioners that stood near Ace drop their blades upon their prisoner. Ace was about to be executed when suddenly a giant handprint appeared in the ice a few feet in front of Whitebeard, crushing a few Navy soldiers, causing everybody to freeze in shock. "Hey Sengoku, I hope that not who I think it is," Garp said to him as he saw what had just happened. "I hope not, he is supposed to be dead," Sengoku replied as he saw the handprint in the ice. "Yeah, we can't afford another powerhouse," Garp said. Cuckoo, that shocked everybody who heard that laughing before, but none was more shocked than Ace and Akainu as they saw a figure landing. "Shit, can't, you are supposed to be death," shouted Akainu, then the figure took off his cloak so that everybody could see his long red hair, like Zane from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and face, the same thing that Dark Zane wears in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, with his 3 katanas strapped to his back, then suddenly he pointed a finger towards Ace. But Ace. The 2 guards that were about to execute Ace was sent flying off the platform, which shocked everyone on the battlefield, momentarily stopped and stared at the miracle. "WWH what? You can't be Naruto, you're supposed to be dead," Ace just shouted as he looks at Naruto. The admirals went wide-eyed, Garp joked in surprise, and Sengoku became ghost white. The Shichibukai of past and present all reacted differently. Gekko Mariah went wide-eyed in fear and started to tremble. Doflamingo started laughing like an idiot. Jinbei had a small smile on his face. Crocodile was scared shitless. Boa Hancock had light blush as she remembered her Luffy-kun until she saw Naruto when her anger started to form. Kuma remained expressionless. And Mihawk started charging up his sword and the fire rages in his eyes, it scared some people. But the pirates. Among the pirates all was silent until a deep booming laugh was heard through the battlefield. Everyone turned to look at the source and was shocked to find it was Whitebeard. "Rara, I should have known you were dead, brat." Whitebeard laughed. What's going on?" an oblivious Luffy asked. "That Luffy-kun is a game changer," replied Jinbei. Whitebeard said, also grinning, "Ladies and gentlemen, pirates and marines, he is indeed alive, the living force Uzumaki T Naruto." As Whitebeard shouted out the Naruto's name, it sent a shock wave of panic throughout the navy. "Should not the living force our doom," said a navy soldier. "I thought he was dead," said another navy soldier. "But admirals." "No matter, I will kill him again," Akainu said. "This just got more troublesome," Aokiji said. "Boy, he looks scarier than the last time," Kizaru said in a laid-back voice. "But Ace. That can't be Naruto, I saw him as he fell into the sea." Ace thought was cut short because of a scene. "But Naruto." "Cuckoo, thank for the intro, pops, it's good to be back," Naruto shouted, then a few cloak figures fell from the sky behind him as everyone was wondering who they were. Naruto looks around as his eyes met Hancock and blown her a kiss, he could see the anger in her face, and if looks could kill he would be dead 10 times over. The mono-sleeve hammer Naruto was sent flying back a few feet as his crew rushed towards him. "Are you alright, Captain?" asked red-cloaked figure. "I'm fine, but I deserve that," Naruto said as he got up to see who had hit him. "Hina-chan, what up?" Naruto said. "Don't Hina-chan me, you cheat on Hina with her best friend," Hina said. "Yes, that definitely," Naruto said as everybody sweat-dropped, wonder why they fear this guy. Suddenly Naruto dodged a strike from his sword, but he got caught with an uppercut and then the back of his sword to his stomach, sending him to the ground. "I deserved that one too," Naruto said as he got back up again. "Tashigi-chan, you are here too," Naruto said. "Don't call my name, you team, you sleep with that slut Hina the same day you slept with me," Tashigi yelled. "Hina is no slut, you bitch," Hina replied as the two started to fight as Naruto take his time and move away from them without them noticing, but as Naruto walk away a giant fist crashed down on him, pounding him down into the ground. "You team, you will paid for leaving me," said Sandy, the unnamed female giant in the giant unit, as his crew run to him forcing Sandy to leave. "Let me guess, you deserve that one," said the black-cloaked figure. "No, that's the only one I don't deserve," Naruto said. "That brat, he never learned," said Whitebeard with a smile on his face. "So the rumor about him being a legendary ladies' man was true, but I still wonder how did he have sex with that giant?" Marco asked was the question that is on everybody's mind. "Damn. How did you have sex with her? She is like 10 times your size," red-cloaked figure asked as everybody tried to listen for Naruto's answer. "Let's just say I used the force," Naruto replied as his nose started to bleed, then everybody look at Sandy who had a blush on her face, then Naruto dodges a sword. "Vice Admiral Doberman, long times no see, still sporting the scars I gave you," Naruto said as Doberman growled at him. "They make you looks more handsome." You will pay for sleeping with my wife, Doberman shouted. Unknown location. Mom, I can't believe you cheated on Dad with the living four, said Saya. I couldn't resist him, look how hot he is and all that power, Katsaya said while having a mini orgasm. Yeah, you are right, so how was he in the sack? Samui asked. Let's just say I couldn't walk for days, Katsaya replied as blood came out of her nose. Damn. So when can we meet him? Asked Joe. You are not going to meet him, beside you girls couldn't manage that monster, Katsaya replied. We can manage anything you can, old lady, Samui said. What did you call me? Katsaya asked as a tick marks appeared on her face. And nothing, Samui shuddered. Anyway, are you sure you want to meet him? Katsaya replied. Yes we are, Saya said. Are you really sure? Katsaya said. Yes we are really sure, Joe said. Are you really sure? Katsaya said. Yes we are. They all shouted. Fine, you don't have to yell, just make sure you can handle the size, Katsaya replied as she showed them the length and width with her hands, which caused the girls to be blown back with nosebleed. 5 minutes. Mom, how did you manage that monster? Saya asked. Trade secret, Katsaya replied, then the three girls started kissing her feet. Please teach us, they all yelled. But Naruto. Doberman swung his sword at Naruto, but Naruto dodged and waved his hand in front of Doberman's face. I am not the guy you are looking for, Naruto said. You are not the guy I'm looking for, Doberman replied. You are looking for Vice Admiral Momonga, Naruto said. I'm looking for Vice Admiral Momonga, Doberman replied as he turned around and rushes over towards Momonga and attack him. Momonga, you're dead, I can't believe you slept with my wife, Doberman yelled. What, I never touch her, Momonga said as he cross-sword with Doberman. With Luffy. Hey Jinbei, what just happened, Luffy asked. Luffy-kun, that what Naruto called GD mind trick, it allows him to manipulate a person's mind, Jinbei replied. Tsuoku. Luffy said with stars in his eyes. With Naruto. Naruto was about to charge the bay when a powerful green wave came at him, but Naruto just stood there and laughed as the wave got closer and closer until the red cloaked figure stepped in front of Naruto and shouted as he pulled his two twin katana and shouted, flare up now. Then cut. Chapter 2, Wildfire. Last time. Naruto was about to charge the bay when a powerful green wave came at him, but Naruto just stood there and laughed as the wave got closer and closer until the red cloaked figure stepped in front of Naruto and shouted as he pulled his two twin katana and shouted, flare up now. Now. Flare up now, the two attacks collide causing an explosion. I can't believe that the most powerful slash in the world was stopped again, said a Navy Solider as everybody looks on in shock and all, even Hawkeye. The smoke cleared, the cloak that Ryo was wearing had burned off, revealing him and his armor. Check my profile page to see the Amaur, to all of the onlookers with a smirk on his face. It's the former captain of the Wildfire Pirates, Ryo of the W Wild F Fire, a Navy Solider shouted. So those are the famous twin swords of his, said an emotionless smoker. Yes, but they are no ordinary sword, those are the sword of Wildfire, or Rekka Ken, they are two of the 12 highest grade swords in the world, they draw their power from the fire around it, Tashigi said exactly. With Ryo. Hawkeye, it's being a while, Ryo said with a smile on his face. Ryo, I thought I killed you, Hawkeye replied in an emotionless voice. You almost did, you killed my crew instead, now it's time for my revenge, Ryo growled as he charged, his twin swords colliding with Hawkeye's black sword. They held, using their strength to push each other away. Ryo withdrew, before twirling his swords and colliding again with Hawkeye's weapon. Hawkeye frowned. It seems that you haven't learned anything from our last fight, Hawkeye. Hawkeye, using his superior strength, raised Ryo's sword with his own, then pushes him off with great force. Ryo flew through the air, backflipping and landing like a cat on the ground. He didn't have time to recover as Hawkeye came at him swiftly with the sword. Ryo dodged Hawkeye's precision slashes and stabs, parrying when he had the time to. Ducking under a swipe at his head as he continued to backpedal, Ryo frowned. Shit, I'm on the back footy a lot stronger than the last time we fought, Ryo, sparing a glance around him. A quick glance was picked up by Hawkeye, drawing forward and slashing the abdomen of Ryo as a small cut appeared on his armor. Shit, that was close, Ryo muttered. Nkakyu no Jutsu, muttered Ryo as a massive fireball came out of his swords. Hawkeye eyes widened, rolling to the left to dodge the fireball. As soon as he had rolled, he was met Ryo's swords. However, Hawkeye ducked under Ryo's slash. Ryo then drove his swords at Hawkeye's face, but he dodges, then suddenly Ryo attacks again and Hawkeye block it, then Hawkeye receive a kick to his stomach which sent him flying. Seeing what had happened to Hawkeye sent shock wave throughout the battlefield, no one could believe what he or she was seeing. He managed to hit Hawkeye, how strong has he become, said a Navy Solider. Shit, if all those cloak figure is as strong as Ryo, we are more trouble than we thought, Sengoku growled. That caught me by surprise, he is using those underhanded tactic that Naruto used to defeat me, but this time I'm ready for them. Hawkeye. But Naruto. Looks like he is using what I taught him, Naruto said. Then he turns to the rest of his crew. You guys know what to do and remember the force will be with you, always. Aye Captain, they shouted as they scattered. But Lavender Cloak figured. As she made her way toward Doflamingo, she was attacked by some Navy Solider. Aye pirate, he shouted as he attacked her, but she dodges and a couple of palm thrusts to his chest, sending him flying into the others. Then more Solider tried to attack her in a group, but she backflipped, shouted. 8 trigrams 32 palms, white cloaked figure said, killing all of them. More came at her as she danced her way around their punches and sword. Then she shouted rotation as a dome came over her and started to spin, sending all the Solider away. Then she turned to him. Now it's your turn, she said. You can always try, Doflamingo said, then started laughing. Then he started moving his finger. She jumped into the air and a navy that was about to attack her from behind was cut to pieces. Can she see my attack? No. The only one person that could see my attack is dead, Doflamingo while he is laughing on the outside. You have to do better than that, she replied as she landed then charged towards him while dodging his invisible attack. As she got closer and closer, she delivers a palm thrust to the stomach of Doflamingo, sent back a few feet as he spit blood. That proves it, she can see my attack, then that means that she is alive, Doflamingo fufu. It seemed that you somehow survived that flight I gave you, he said. So you remember me now, you die for kill my mom and Fuka, she said as she throws off her cloak revealing herself. It's the former navigator of the Flying Hyuga pirates, the warrior Princess Hinata Hyuga, shouted a Navy soldier in fear. But White Cloak figured. As she head over to Kuma, she was attacked by some Solider as she dodges them and defeated them with kicks and punches. You're not escape us, pirate, the Solider shouted as he attacked her with punches as she dodges them, then swift kick to head sending him flying into the others. Who's next, she said as they all started to take a step backward. Don't be afraid of it, it's a nobody, said a captain. He's right, bazooka unit attack, a Solider shouted as they fire at her, but she dodges it by jumping into the air. Then an unnamed vice admiral appeared behind her. Thought you shave, he shouted as the attack was about to hit. He heard something that shocked his very soul. Satan's soul take over as her wing came allow her to dodge, then a thunderous kick, sending the vice admiral down to earth. The transformation destroys the cloak revealing Morahin. I, the former leader of the soul sibling T, the D-demon M Mira, shouted the soldiers. Darkness stream, Mira said as shadowy hands shoot out from her and attack the soldiers, killing them. Then she turned to Kuma. You team, you will pay for what happened to my family, Mira shouted as her angry rose, while Kuma still had an emotionless expression on his face. Soul extinction, Mira shouted as a dark sphere started to form, then a large powerful beam of energy shoot out at Kuma. Add cannon, Kuma said as the two attack cancel out each other. But Blue Cloak figured. The group of Navy soldiers suddenly surrounded the Blue Cloak figure as two wings and claws appeared and as the figure started to transform, thus destroying the cloak revealing Kurumu. It's the former hypnosis of the monster pirate, the succubus Kurumu, shouted a pirate. Don't look into her eyes, a Solider shouted. Too later a number of Navy looked into her eyes already. Charm, she said as she did a sexy pose as heart appeared into their eyes. Darlings, could you please kill each other for me, she said in a seductive voice as the soldiers started killing each other. Then she turned to some pirates and charmed them too, then ordered them to attack Jekko as they attack him, distracting him. She flew as fast as she could and caught him off guard with a kick to the face that sent him crashing into the wall. But black cloaked figure. He was running towards Smoker when a pacifistas appeared before him and shooting laser beams out of his mouth and hand. As he dodges them and jumps into the air, a beam shoot out of his face, destroying the pacifistas. Who the hell is this guy, Navy Solider asked. Your worst nightmare, the cloak figure replied as guns started to appear on both of his hands. Widespread bullets, cloak figure said as the bullets scatter all over the place killing the soldiers. Suddenly he heard white launcher and saw Smoker coming at him. Bullet barrage, he said as the bullets went through Smoker. Fool, you bullets don't work on me, Smoker said as he attacks the cloaked figure, but the cloaked figure dodges all his attack. Smoker, long time no see, the cloaked figure said as he fired at Smoker again. You can say the same thing, I thought I killed when I sank that ship, Smoker replied. You almost did, now time to pay, he said with a smile on his face. Bring it on, Machine Gun Joe, Smoker replied as Joe took off his cloak. Why you mean M Machine G Gun J, Joe the famed marksman of the Death Pirate replied a pirate. But Yellow Cloak figure. Boy am I luck there is no handsome men here, I hate killing them, Yellow Cloaked figure said. She was surrounded by Navy soldiers, then they started attacking her, but she dodges their attack with little effort, then jump on her hands and started spinning and kicking away all the soldiers. Shit, her fighting style is like the pirate empress, said a Solider as he receives a kick to his face. Yellow Cloak figure was kicking their asses when another foot met with her, it the pirate empress Boa Hancock. Who are you and how do you know my fighting style? Hancock asked with venom in her voice. But Naruto. Naruto look on as he watches the war around, then he saw a pirate and grab him. Who did that to Whitebeard? asked an angry Naruto pointing to the stab wound on Whitebeard's chest, the pirate nearly soiled himself. "IW was S-squared," he stuttered, then Naruto throw him away and search for squared. "Bansham tenon, universal pull," Naruto said, and squared was pulled toward Naruto outstretch hand as his connect to squared throat, he slam him into the ice and reach for TS when his hand touched the sword, another hand stop him. "Stop Naruto, don't kill him," Whitebeard said gently. "But Pops, he tried to kill you," Naruto replied as his anger rises. "I know, but I already forgive him," Whitebeard said. "Then you are a fool," then Naruto shouted that shock everyone expect Marco that someone but an admiral dare to call Whitebeard that to his face. "I know I'm a fool, he is still one of my sons," Whitebeard replied. Whatever, Naruto said as he let go of squared and walked away until he was far away from Whitebeard. "But Naruto. Move out of my way or die," Naruto said. "Don't back down guys, justice will always win," said a captain as they all attack him. "Fools, Shinra Tensei, almighty push," Naruto replied as the force of his attack sent them flying all over the place, killing some of them and destroying some buildings. "Troublesome, his power has just like Whitebeard," Aokiji said as he appeared in front of Naruto. "So the famous blue pheasant decided to grace me with his present," Naruto said with a smirk on his face. "You will regret facing me, I spear," Aokiji said as the spear came at Naruto, but the smirk never left his face. "Nova Shield," voice said as the ice melt as it touched the shield, then the shield came down revealing the Mei as her yellow cloak melted her. "It's former Kuja pirates, the kiss of death," Mate Terumi shouted, the pirates with heart in their eyes. "How about a kiss?" Aokiji Kunmei said in a seductive voice. Nova kisses, as the kisses hit Aokiji melt him as he turned to water and fall to the ground where he reformed himself as Mei went after him. "So she did betray us for that, man," Hancock said with a tear in her eyes. "But Naruto." Suddenly a bright light blinded Naruto and a man in a yellow suit appeared. "So we meet again, yellow monkey," Naruto said as he shielded his eyes. "See, you are still bright as ever. You know, living force, you remain of my late partner," Kizaru said as he elongates the last word of his sentences. "How you same something," Naruto replied in the same manner as Kizaru. "Famous last word, scared string of jewels," Kizaru sighed as beams of light rained down at Naruto. "Naruto," Ace shouted. Naruto just put up his two hands and the light started bouncing of his invisible shield and destroying anything around him. "Have you ever been kicked at light speed before?" Kizaru asked from behind him. "Shit, I forgot how fast he was." Naruto: "Yes, but have you ever been kicked by a giant paper foot before?" Kizaru did not get a chance to reply because he was kicked by a giant paper foot. "Naruto-sama, is you alright?" Conan asked. "I fine, Conan-chan," Naruto replied. "So the paper mistress is still alive, Sengoku, where hell are these death people coming from?" as he destroyed a wall next to Garp's head. "Who knows?" Garp replied. "But Naruto." Naruto continued his way towards Ace when he heard Magma Fist. Naruto turned to his right to see the fist coming at him. Suddenly some Navy soldiers felt themselves being drawn in between Naruto and the Magma Fist. As the fist collided with men, they screamed in pain as they were being burned alive. "Do you think that will stop me?" Akainu shouted as he poured some more power in the attack, melting their bodies. Naruto jumped into the air to avoid his attack. "The red puppy dog, nice to see you again," Naruto said as many of the pirates and Navy soldiers started to laugh. That pissed Akainu off even more. "Team Dai Funka, great eruption," Akainu shouted as the attack came at Naruto. Naruto caught himself with the force and started spinning downward toward Akainu and the attack. "Looks like the living force has gone crazy," said Luffy. Said no, he is not. The power of the force fruit allow him to going into almost anything and survive just by covering himself with it. Jinbei replied. "Cool," Luffy shouted as his eyes sparkles. With Naruto spins through the attack and Akainu leaving a hole in his stomach. "That won't hurt me," Akainu said. "I know," Naruto said as he caught his fist with haki and delivery an uppercut to his chin, sending him crashing into a building. "Damn, that felt good," Naruto said as he looked around for his crew. They were doing good so far until his eyes landed on Ryo. "Shit," Naruto said as he ran toward Ryo. With Ryo. Ryo was on the ground breathing hard, his armor covered in stretches as Hawkeye walked towards him. "You have gotten better, but you are still no match for me," Hawkeye said as he brought down his sword. "I guess this is it, sorry guys." Ryo when a sliver blade stops Hawkeye's sword. Flashback. The black hair and blue eyes boy about 17 years old, he was wearing a red sweater with a white collar, blue jeans, and sneakers, was walking up to a temple when he stopped when he saw a shadowed figure at the door. "So the White Blaze final chose a successor," said the shadowed figure. "How do you know the White Blaze?" Ryo asked. "I was his teacher and you have the same fire that he had. Now follow me," said the shadowed figure as he walked into the temple as Ryo followed him. As they enter the temple, Ryo saw 4 other guys about his age. One of them had auburn hair and blue-green eyes. He was wearing a blue and white hoodie over a striped shirt, light-colored pants, and sneakers. Ryo walks over to him and introduces himself to the boy. "My name is Ryo, what's yours?" Ryo asked, then the boy bowed to him. Nice to meet you Ryo-san, my name is Mari Sai, Sai said politely as Ryo was about to answer when the others started to walk over. One of them had dark blue hair and blue eyes. He wears a golden headband across his forehead, a yellow t-shirt, light-colored pants, and sneakers. My name is Kento Ray-Fuin, Kento said. The second one had blue hair and blue eyes. He wears a royal blue sweater with a bright green collar, light-colored jeans, and dark shoes. My name is Rowan Hashiba, Rowan said. The last one had wild blonde hair and pale purple eyes. He wears a yellow shirt, deep blue jacket, tan pants, and brown shoes. My name is Sage Date, said Sage as Ryo was about to ask a question when he was cut off. Guys, pay attention, I know you are all wondering why you are here. You are here because you have been chosen to carry on your family legacy, even if you don't know them, said the shadowed figure. Do we have a choice in the matter? Asked Rowan. Yes you do, you can either stay or go, replied the shadowed figure. Tell us who you are first, Ryo said. But you will learn in time, but I do go by the name Ancient One, the Ancient One replied. I will stay, Ryo said. The rest of them agreed. 1 and 2 years later. During the first year they did physical exercise to build up their stamina and endurance, then they each chose different weapons, wooden, to practice with. Ryo chose 2 katanas, Kento chose a staff, Rowan chose a bow, Sage chose a sword, and Sai chose a trident. They even learn each other backstory like how Ryo's mother passed away when he was very little. His father is a famous pirate who has usually caused trouble for the navy, so he was not there for him. Fortunately, for Ryo, his father would send money to cover living expenses. Ryo has lived in a log cabin in the East Blue for most of his life, but it is very far away from the city islands, and he has to walk 9 miles every day just to get water. Sage is descended from Date Masamune, a famous Navy vice admiral who killed many pirates. They call him the one-eyed dragon because he only had one eye. Even though both of his parents are alive, Sage's grandfather was responsible for his upbringing. Sage's father is a member of the Navy, a captain and a kendo practice. Sage has 2 sisters. His older sister, Yaoi, teases him greatly and is the reason he has trouble communicating with girls. His younger sister, Satsuki, is more laid-back than her older siblings are. Sai is descended from Mauri Motonari, who was a famous Navy vice admiral in South Blue. His family's duty was to protect the sea, and so each member of the family was well acquainted with the sea. Sai's father died when he was very young, leaving him to be raised by his mother and sister Sayoko. Unfortunately, his mother has a very weak heart. Kento's ancestors immigrated from the North Blue to the east. His family is part of a clan of many different families under the leadership of an elder known as grandfather. Kento will take over as clan leader when he retires. The Ray-Fuins are very prosperous. Kento's father, Chan Run, owns a restaurant in Chinatown Island that has expanded and become a chain restaurant. His mother, being a master, taught him Chinese kung fu from an early on. Kento has 4 younger brothers and sisters. There is a 10-year age difference between Rowan's parents, his mother having been only 18 when she had him. His father, Junichiro, is a scientist who specializes in physics and astronomy. The mad scientist type, he never leaves his lab, which is unknown. Rowan's mother, on the other hand, is a bit of an airhead. She is an international journalist. They divorced when Rowan was 12. Years 3 and 4. This was the year they would receive their amowers. Guys, you will have to go out and find your own way to get your amour. I cannot help you accomplish that, I can only train you how to use it. Now go, the Ancient One said. Hi, they all shouted. Ryo was the first one to come back. He had received his amour when a group of Navy started a village fire in order to lure out pirates, but ended up getting trapped themselves. Ryo tried to stop the fire and save everyone including the Navy soldiers, despite the fact that they threatened to shoot him when he tried to stand up to them. The kanji for Jin appeared on his forehead and he somehow managed to absorb the flames. The fire created the undergear for the wildfire armor, and his 2 wooden katana become twin katanas, the swords of wildfire, or Reka-ken. Then Sai arrived. He had gone home and started reading the ancient documents kept by his family and discovered the existence of the torrent armor. It was a tradition that the males of the Maori family, as a rite of passage into manhood, would dive into the sea near their home. Despite the sea being deep, Sai was able to reach the bottom without using an oxygen tank. He found the armor at the bottom of a crevice and, with the help of his orca friend Suki, retrieved it. His trident became a yari, a combination of a trident and a mankature, and a tanto dagger appeared behind the right shoulder. Then Kento arrived. He had went home to his grandfather, who had decided to test Kento to see if he was worthy of possessing the amour. During that time Kento, Rinfi and Yun got permission to visit the family resort where all the family treasures are stored. Several of the treasures were broken while they were looking around, but whether it was the fault of Kento's siblings or by the old woman who joined them on their journey is unknown. Either way, Kento intentionally broke a few of the treasures himself in order to take the fall. This allowed Kento to pass the test, and the armor of Hard Rock appeared before him and his staff became Tetsubo, iron bow, with an Ajinata blade on one end. Other times, it takes the form of a three-joint nunchaku. Rowan went home and while he was researching ancient history, Amaura and strategy, Rowan first discovered a legend that his father's side of the family had once had an armor, but it had been lost long ago. He created many different formulas to help him analyze the data, but he still could not fully understand it. By coincidence, his mother dropped by for a visit and was able to help him figure out that he needed to go to Amenhashidate. Rowan went during his time to the site and received the Strata armor. Sage was the last to arrive. As he went home, Sage was challenged by a famous kendo practitioner by the name of Kazumatsu Shingo. Sage's grandfather forced him to accept the challenge. When it became apparent that he was going to lose, Shingo threw something into Sage's eyes. However, with his right eye covered by his hair, it was unaffected. Furious, Sage committed a breach of etiquette and knocked off Shingo's face protector, as well as causing Shingo to fall unconscious. Sage's grandfather was furious and, as punishment, sent him down to the basement. No one had seen what Shingo had done, and it was not until he woke up that the truth came out. By drawing shame to himself, Sage had saved Shingo, for his actions could have caused him to be banned from kendo forever. In the end, Sage's time in the basement was well spent, for it was here that he found the armor of Halo, and his word became a no-dachi blade with a shuriken at its hilt, called the Korin Ken. So you all have achieved your Amaura. Now tell what the entire Amaura has in common, the Ancient One asked. All of us Amaura draws their power from a specific element: air, fire, water, earth and lighting. Rowan. Very good, now this where the real train started, and with your new Amaura comes new name, said the Ancient One as he turns to Ryo. Your new name is Ryo of the Wildfire, then he turns to Sai. Your new name is Sai of the Torrent, Suko no Shin. Then he turns to Kento. Your new name is Kento of Hard Rock, Kongo no Shu. Then he turns to Sage. Your new name is Sage of the Halo, Korin no Seiji. Then he turns to Rowan. Your new name is Rowan of the Strata, Tenku no Toma. Now let the training begins, shouted the Ancient One. Flashback end. DRM Shine, Naruto said as the light blinded Hawkeye, then Naruto gave him a swift kick to his stomach, then sent Hawk crashing into some Navy soldiers. Ryo, what are you doing? I thought you made a promise to your friends. Naruto said as he looks at Ryo. You're right, Naruto, Ryo said, then Naruto jumped away as Hawkeye was getting up. But Naruto. As Naruto landed, Navy soldiers surrounded him. Do you guys ever give up? Naruto replied. Justice never gives up, shouted a Solider as they all attack him. Fools, Naruto said as he raises his hands and they all started to choke, then they fall to the ground dead, while the other Navy Solider looks on in horror. As Naruto walks away, he stopped when he saw Hancock turning Navy and pirate to stone. He vanishes in a burst of speed, appeared behind Hancock, and warps his hand around her, then squeezes her wonderful breasts. Miss me, Han-chan, Naruto whispered into her ears, then suddenly a foot connected to his ball that made him buckle over and scream out in pain. How dare you touch me again, Uzumaki, Hancock roared, then she did a spin kick that sent him flying into a building. With Mei. Naruto-kun, I told. She was still angry, Mei said as she turned towards Naruto direction. Never take your eyes off an opponent, pleasant Pikakiji said. Thanks, I'll remember that, Malter's Mei replied as the two birds collided. With Ryo. I did not abandon my friends. Ryo had finally gone full out, and that was what Hawkeye wanted. Ryo's katanas was a blur of speed. It swung in all directions, side, up, another up to a sideways and diagonal left, and Hawkeye had trouble dodging it all, but he was thankful his sword was always there to block and his arm able to back up the strength of the opponent to a complete stop. Ryo had backed Hawkeye up a few hundred steps as they dances in sparks and blades. Ryo was getting tired of this and twisted, using momentum and his fierce power to strike Hawkeye, but Hawkeye was ready, twisted to the side, and stood stern. His blade blocked both of Ryo's easily, and this disorientated Ryo very much so, where he didn't move until he set foot onto the ground. He moved just as he could because Hawkeye used Ryo's strength against him, ducking down and rushing the pirate. Hawkeye was behind Ryo now, his blade along his arm, pointing to Ryo. A blood splattered along the ground between them, and they turned, still in stance. Ryo grunted slightly as she saw a cut on his side. Hawkeye took this opportunity of a standstill with Ryo to mock him a little more. You didn't care for your friend, you let them die while you were hiding. Hawkeye said. Ryo ignored his pain as once again, his anger rose, and his attack continued. Hawkeye blocked the first blow easily. My friends died because they were protecting me. Ryo's second strike was faster, but still easily blocked. Sai pushed me out of the way and took the hit. The third strike made Hawkeye lose his stance for a second as his arm vibrated from the third blow, leaving a slight sting. Flare storm, Ryo shouted as he swung his sword's fire came out of it, but Hawkeye dodges it like it was nothing. No wonder you friends die with weak attack like that, Hawkeye said. That's it. Wild F. Ryo didn't get to finish as he heard behind world's strongest slash hit him, sending him across the ice as he hit the ground. As his eyes begun to close, he saw Hawkeye running towards him. Flashback. Your training has finally come to an end. I have nothing left to teach you, so go out into the world and fulfill your destiny, said Ancient One. Hi sensei, they all replied as they leave the temple. So Ryo, what are going to do now? Sai asked the unofficial leader. We are going to travel around the world helping people along the way, Ryo said. What are we, Navy or pirate? Kento asked. Neither, we are neutral until we find out which side to choose, Ryo replied. So what is our group call? Rowan asked. The Rowan Warriors, Ryo replied. I like it, Sage said. Bird Island, North Blue. The Rowan Warriors had just arrived on the island and noticed that the place was almost deserted. Then they heard a screaming coming from the bar, so they went to check it out. As they arrived, they saw some people destroying the bar and trying to rape some woman. What is going on here? Ryo asked as the men looked at him. Mind your own business, kid, said the man and turned back to what he was doing when he felt a sword to his neck. It's my business when you are trying to rape a woman, Ryo said as he presses down on the sword to draw some blood. Let him go, kid, or you have to face the Iron Pirate, said a next pirate. Bring it on, I'm hitching for a fight, shouted Kento as an orange Amaura appeared on him. Kento spins the bow over his head, then aims one end towards the ground and causes a massive earthquake. Iron Rock Crusher, Gan Tesai, as the ground started to shake and brought the roof down on the other pirates. These guys are monsters, I'm going to tell the boss, said a pirate as he ran away. Kento was about to chase after him when Ryo stopped him. Let him go, Ryo said. Why? Kento asked. Because we don't know how many of them are there, and because of your stunt they already that something is going on, Rowan replied. What did the pirates do to village? Ryo asked the girl. They kill of most of the villagers and capture some, just because the villagers won't help them mine for the gold in the mountains, so they turn them into slaves. I'm the last one that remain. She said. What is your name, miss? Sage asked. It's Kimiko, she replied. Kimiko, we are going to help this village, Ryo said. Thank you, what your names? Kimiko asked as they introduced themselves to her. What is the plan? Sai asked Rowan, who was about to answer when they heard gunshots coming toward the building. Ryo grabbed Kimiko and jumped out of the building. When they reached on the outside, pirates surrounded them. How dare you attack my crew, said a man about 9 feet tall, muscular body, black hair and a ponytail, and his jaw and teeth was made of iron. Who the hell are you? Kento shouted. How dare you not know Iron Jaw John, the pirate that is worth 22 million berries, said a pirate. Never heard of him, said Ryo as the pirates glared at them. It doesn't matter because you will be dead for attacking my pirates, John said as he orders his men to attack. As Sage stepped forward, the pirates charged at them. Suddenly a bright light covered Sage. As the light disappeared, he was in green armor with his Korin Ken. Raiko's and Thunderbolt cut, Sage shouted as he swung the sword down, a slash of lighting from the blade, killing the pirates. Suddenly Iron Jaws was behind him. Iron Jaws, shouted John, ready to bite down on Sage when 2 twin katanas block his attack. John started to put more force into trying to break the swords. Shit, what is this sword made of? My teeth can crush anything, John. Then Zan, flare up now, Ryo said as the fire covered his sword, burning John alive, leaving only his iron jaw. That was easy, Kento said. Let's go rescue the villagers, Ryo said. 10 minutes later. The Rowan warriors had rescued the villagers, so the villager threw them a party for saving them where all dance and enjoy themselves. They left the next day to continue their journey. 3 days later. Words had gotten around about the mysterious heroes that had saved Bird Island and beat a 22 million berries pirate and his crew like it was nothing. The news spread like wildfire. Navy-based dog, North Blue. Should more pirates, that's all we need, growl a Navy solider as he crushed up a newspaper with the Rowan warriors' photos on it. But Captain Kiba, the villager, said that they weren't pirates, a Navy solider replied as he looks at his captain. He has several physical traits more akin to animals. He has messy brown hair, sharp black eyes with vertical slit-like pupils, pronounced canine teeth, and nails that he can change into claws. He also has the distinct red fang markings on his cheeks. That's what they all say until they show their true color, Kiba said. But Captain, what if you are wrong, said the Navy solider. Suddenly Kiba's hand was on his throat, then Kiba hoisted him into the air. I am never wrong, Kiba growled as he squeezes harder. Why yes, see, Captain, said the Navy solider as he begun to lose consciousness. Now write up the wanted poster, Kiba said as he threw the solider to the ground. Wanted pirates dead alive. Ryo of the Wildfire 24 million berries. Sai of the Torrent Suko no SHIN 15 million berries. Pento of Hard Rock Congo no SHU 21 million berries. Sage of the Halo, Korin no SEIJI 22 million berries. Rowan of the Strata Tenku no TOMA 15 million berries. Dog Island, North Blue. 3 months later. It seems the Navy thinks we are pirates, I said. But we are not. I thought we made that clear by saving those people, Kento replied. It must be a mistake, we will sort this out when we reach town. I heard that a navy base is in the town, Ryo said as they walked through the town they heard. Please don't take my daughter, we don't have any money to give you, we gave Captain Kiba everything yesterday. They rushed towards the voice. They entered a red house and saw some navy soldiers beating up an old man while they made his daughter watch. Captain wants more money, he told us if anybody don't have anything to give us we will take their family member, especially their daughter if they are hot, said a navy solider. But how can we get more money when he is letting the pirates and his own soldiers taking all of ours goods and not paying for it, shouted the man as they hit him again. Watch your tongue, old man, said the navy solider that hit the man. The man was about to hit the old man again when Shinku ha, arrow shockwave, said Rowan as the arrow pierces his chest and blow the rest of the soldiers away. They got up and saw their attackers. It's the wildfire pirates, shouted the soldiers as they ran away with their tails between their legs. We are not pirates, shouted Kento in anger. The wildfire pirates, Ryo replied with a question mark over his head. That it, we must hurry to the navy base and set the record straight, Sai said. Thank you for saving me and my daughter, but I wouldn't if I were you, the old man as he got off the ground as his daughter rushed over to help him. Why is that? Sage asked. Because Captain Kiba is in charge of the base, he is known to be Kiba, short-tempered and impulsive, so he won't believe anything you say, replied the old man. We will take our chances. So why were they attacking you? Ryo asked. Oh, my name is Ken and this is my daughter Ten. The Navy was sent here to protect us from the pirates, but Captain Kiba is working with them instead. They paid him some gold and he let them do what they want, then he sent his men to finish what we have left, Ken said with great venom. What about his commanding officers, do they know? Sai asked. If they do then they don't seem to care because we have sending complaint and not getting any, replied Ten. We have to help them, Ryo replied with a smile. If we do we will be labeled as pirates, Rowan said. We are already labeled as pirates, Sage replied. Sage is right, if they want to call us pirates, then let's show them what the wildfire pirates can do, Ryo shouted as they all transform into their armor, then charged towards the base. Appa, do you think they will survive? Ten asked. I hope so, they are our only chance, Ken replied with a worried look on his face. Navy base. Captain Kiba, the wildfire pirates are coming this way, said a scared Navy soldier. Send the bug pirates after them, Kiba replied with a smirk on his face. Outside the base. As the warriors head for the front door they see bugs covering the sky coming at them. Is there a group of bugs coming towards our, Rowan shouted while they just look at him. Time for the bug zapper, thunderbolt cut, shouted Sage as he swung Korin. Ken electrocuted them, they all fell to the ground. Who dare kill my babies? Shouted a man in a cloak that covers his face and wearing a dark glasses as more bugs start to appear covering more of the place. Shit, they have down it now, Captain Shino is mad, said a pirate. I will handle it, go ahead, Sage said, lighting strike as the lighting cleared the buggy path allowing his friends to advance. Kiba's office. Captain, they are still coming, shouted a Navy soldier. Send out Akamaru, Kiba growled. Inside the base. The warriors had finally reached inside the base when a giant dog appeared with a tag around his neck marked Akamaru. Damn, that a big ass dog, Rowan said looking up at the dog. The two heads, thank you Captain, obvious, the others thought. Sai and I will deal with the dog, Rowan said. Shinku ha, arrow shockwave, forcing the dog back, letting the other past. With Kiba. Sir, they are still coming, shouted the soldier. But shut up, I know they're coming, Kiba said as he picked up the den mushi. Sengoku, the wildfire pirate are attacking my base, I need backup, Kiba shouted. Can't you handle, Captain? Sengoku asked. They stronger than I thought, said a worried Kiba as he looks at his monitor. But Sage. Giant bug soldier, Shino shouted as the swarm of bugs around him forming a giant bug. Lighting dragon, Sage shouted as the dragon came out of his sword, electrocuted a giant bug and everybody and destroyed the surrounding area. With Rowan and Sai. The giant charged at them trying to bite them, but they were too quick for him and ran into the next room, which was a dead end. It was way smaller than the first one, the giant dog shouted. Fang will fang as the dog started to spin, there was no way to dodge the attack. Shit, there is no time to dodge it, Rowan shouted while Sai just looked at him and shake his head. Let our powers combine, JAY 3000. Wonder if anybody can guess what cartoon I got this line from, Sai said as the pulled out his bow. Shinku ha, arrow shockwave. Toryu ha, super wave smasher, as the two attack combine and hit the dog, freezing it in midair, then the dog drop and shattered to pieces. With Kiba. Sir, they just finished defeating all my men, I am the only one left, Kiba shouted. Fine, I will send a ship with Vice Admiral Doberman to help, it will be there in 1 hour, Sengoku replied as he hangs up the snail. 5 minutes. A Navy soldier was sent flying through Kiba's door. So you must be the famous Captain Kiba that I have heard about, Ryo said. "So you punks think you can defeat me?" Kiba replied with a cocky grin on his face as he shouted Gatsuka as they attacked both Ryo and Kento, who blocked it with their weapon, but it still sent them flying into the ground. "Weak fools, I'm top dog around here," Kiba replied Gatsuka. This time Ryo and Kento was ready. "Fire Dragon," Ryo shouted as he extends his sword. The dragon attacks Kiba, turning his Gatsuka into a flaming one, but that did not stop Kiba as Ryo dodges the attack by jumping into the air. Fire slash that hit Kiba in his back as he screamed out in pain. "You team!" Kiba growled in pain as he started to change into a pitbull hybrid. "Ultimate Gatsuka," he shouted as his attack got faster, attacking both them as they tried to dodge his attack, but they couldn't. If it wasn't for their Amaura they would have been cut to shreds, but it left cuts all over their bodies. "Shit, we have to stop him!" Iron Rock Crusher Kento shouted as he got up. He spins the iron bow over his head, then aims one end towards the ground and causes a massive earthquake. Kiba tried to attack them, but the floor underneath his feet gave, forcing him to stop. Big mistake, because Ryo was coming behind him. "Fire spin," Ryo said, launching the attack from his Rekaken Kiba, burning him alive. "Kento, bring this place down," Ryo roared. "I Super Iron Rock Crusher," Kento said as the whole place began to shake and started to fall as Ryo and Kento ran out. They reached out in time to see the whole base coming down. As it came down, the people began to cheer. Later. "Thank you, Wildfire Pirates, for helping us." The mayor was cut off as a cannonball smashed into a building, destroying it. Then another one came, forcing all the people in the street. "Who in Kami's name is attacking us?" Ken asked. "Could it be the Navy?" said a scared Tenten. "No, I don't think they would attack an island just to kill pirates," Sai said as they ran to the port to see the Navy ship shooting cannonball in all direction. "Hey, it is the Navy," Rowan said as Kento hit him in his head. "Sai, destroy that ship before it cause any more damage," Ryo said. "Icho Ryu ha, Super Wave Smasher," Sai shouted as he transformed and point Yari. He put all his power into it, creating a shock wave into the sea, sinking the ship. "But now let's get out of here," Ryo said as they ran away. 15 minutes later. Vice Admiral Doberman and some of the men that survived came out of the water. "Where are the pirates?" Doberman shouted. "You just missed them," Ten replied with a smile on her face. 10 years later. "I want you to deal with the Wildfire Pirates personally and bring back their weapons," and Amaura Sengoku said. The man didn't say anything, he just go up and look at the wanted posters of his target. Wanted pirates dead alive. Ryo of the Wildfire 240 million berries. Sai of the Torrent Suko no Shin 155 million berries. Kento of Hard Rock Congo no Shu 154 million berries. Sage of the Halo, Korin no Seiji 142 million berries. Rowan of the Strata Tenku no Toma 146 million berries. A week later. The Wildfire Pirates was sailing when they saw a small boat that is shaped like a coffin coming towards them. The man in the ship jump out of it and land on their ship. He is a pale-skinned man. He has a pendant around his neck and a black claymore, known as the world's strongest sword. Both weapons bear a resemblance to the Christian cross. "Hitaka no mi no Mimku," shouted a scared Kento. Hawkeye just looks at them with his normal emotionless face. "By order of the fleet admiral, I am here to kill the Wildfire Pirates," Hawkeye said. "We weren't pirates, the Navy turned us into pirates," Ryo shouted as he gritted his teeth. "It doesn't matter, I have my orders," Hawkeye replied as he reached over his back and unsheath his sword. They all immediately transform. "Shit, we have no choice," as he took out his Yari Super Wave Smasher as the water from the sea and attack Hawkeye, who dodges and was in Sai guard, ready to take him down when he heard. Arrow shock wave forcing him away from Sai. As he landed he heard thunderbolt cut as the lightning rushed towards him, which he blocks with his sword. Ryo appeared behind him with his twin sword, but Hawkeye sidestep him, deliver a bone-crushing hit to his head, sending him rocketing back through the mast into ship. He was hit with the back of the sword. The last thing Ryo saw was Hawkeye charging at him when Sai pushed him out of the way and took the sword through the chest for him. 13 minutes later. Ryo woke to see Sage with a black sword in his stomach. The sword retracts and Sage fell to the ground. Ryo screams out as he saw all his friends on the ground. "You will pay for this," Ryo roared as fire leaked out of his swords and surrounded him, setting the ship on fire. He charged at Hawkeye, who dodges him and swung the sword at Ryo, but he blocked him. This continued for 5 minutes. Ryo in his rage just started swung his sword like a man pauses, but Hawkeye just stood there and blocked them, all of them. Then Ryo jumped into the air. "You team Wild Inferno," Ryo shouted as all the fire on the ship got hotter and started going towards Hawkeye, who just stood there and took it. When the fire cleared, there was no sign of Hawkeye, just a hole where the fire was still burning. "I finally avenge you guys," Ryo said as he walked over to his friends and put them all in the same place. Sorry guys, I let you die," Ryo said as he started to cry. "You did not fail us, you tried your best, he was just stronger," Sage said in a weak voice. "Sage is right," Rowan said in a weak voice. Yeah, beside you can't rid of us that easily, Kento said in a weak voice. Kento's right, said Sai in a weak voice. Guys, you're alive, Ryo shouted with a smile on his face. For now, but we are dying, I can feel it, Sage replied in a weak voice. No, you are not, I'll take all of us to the hospital, Ryo shouted. You can't swim with all of us, and beside you are still injure yourself, we would never make it, Sai replied as he started to cough. You are right, I think that hit broke several of my ribs, Ryo said. Ryo, I want you to cough, do something for us, Sage said as he coughed up blood. Anything, Ryo replied. Put our weapons in our hand, Rowan said as Ryo did it without asking why. What now? Ryo asked. Just stand back, Kento replied, then they all started to glow. By the power of virtue we surrender our power to Ryo of the wildfire, they all said. The kanji Forjin righteousness, Shin trust, Rei grace, Kai wisdom and Gai justice appeared on Ryo's forehead, then their weapons all started to turn into energy and shoot into Ryo's body. It took their energies and element with it as their Amauras vanish, leaving Ryo alone in his Amaur, but it wasn't red. Goodbye, Ryo, they all said before their eyes closed forever. Ryo was about to cry when a green energy came out from underneath him as it hit him. He screams out when he landed on the ground with blood covering all over his body. Hawkeye came out of the ship and walked towards the downed pirates and looked at them. He realizing that their Amauras and weapons was gone as he looked over to Ryo. The ship exploded. It seems like Ryo's fire had finally reached the cannonball and gunpowder, forcing Hawkeye off the ship. He watches the ship sink to the bottom of the sea. Flash end. No, I can't afford to lose, Ryo said. Hawkeye came closer, suddenly a bright appear over Ryo, blinding everybody for a while, as it clear Ryo was not in his red Amaur, he was in a white one. He had two different swords in his hands. He swung it, a massive stream of fire came out of it, destroying anything in its path. Hawkeye jumped into the air, but Ryo was waiting for him up there. Hawkeye was sent flying into a group of navy, knocking them all out. Chapter 3, The Princess and the Demon. Last time on The Living Force. No, I can't afford to lose, Ryo said as Hawkeye came closer. Suddenly a bright appear over Ryo, blinding everybody for a while as it clear. Ryo was not in his red Amaur, he was in a white one, and the swords of fervor, Guretsu Ken, appeared in his hand, then he swung it as massive stream of fire came out of it, destroying anything in its path. Hawkeye jumped into the air, but Ryo was waiting for him up there, and then Hawkeye sent flying into a group of navy, knocking them all out. Now. Everybody was still in shock, they could believe what they were seeing. Hawkeye was defeated, was being spread around the battlefield. Now to finish him off, Ryo said as he charges towards Hawkeye when two pacifista attack, forcing him away from Hawkeye. But Marahin. Her eyes was darker and her eyelashes was longer, with a dark thin marking in a light zigzag style crossing her right eye vertically. Similar markings was present above her right breast and on both of her bare thighs. Her hair was wilder, jutting upwards and getting curlier, with the front ponytail growing longer, and her was enlarged, extending backwards, and gained pointed edges, bearing resemblance to those of fictional elves. She had sharp canine teeth, and her lips were covered in dark lipstick. Her forearms and hands were noticeable changes. They covered in scales, and each sprouting a fin-like protrusion on its outer side. She also has a large, stocky tail, seemingly made of metal plates or scales, getting smaller and smaller near its end. She had on a skimpy one-piece suit revealing her arms and legs, which is open on the front and the back, exposing most of her belly, wide cleavage and upper back too. Such cloth has lighter colored edges taking on spiky shapes, and a cravat tie ties her similarly spiky collar around the neck. Her shoulders are tied in some thin belts protruding from her one-piece suit, and her feet are covered by matching high-heeled thigh-high boots, which are decorated by lighter motifs on their upper parts, taking on the shapes of jagged blades pointing downwards on the front of her legs and on the lower parts, in correspondence to her ankles and feet. She also has on a pair of gauntlets covering the back parts of her transformed arms. "Kuma, show your face," Mira yelled as she landed on the ground. Suddenly a massive shadow appeared behind her and swung it hand at her. She turned around to block it with her hands. The hit sent her a couple feet away, then he appeared behind her. "Shit, I forgot how fast he is," Mira as she heard. Add cannon, the force of the attack sends her flying into the ground. As she got back up she saw a laser beam come towards her, but she dodges it by flying into the air. "Soul extinction," Mira shouted as she gathers the energy from the surrounding area between her hands, which subsequently takes the form of a large transparent globe, then she launches it at Kuma. The attack causes devastating explosion, kill everybody around the area. However, when the smoke cleared you could see the large figure of Kuma still standing there without a scratch, that sent Mira in a rage as she charges at him. A kick to the face that sends shock waves across the area, but Kuma stood his ground, his face only turned the other side. Suddenly he grabs her foot and slams her into the ground. Then he grabs her again and about to slam he again when the evil spark Mira Shatita powerful lightning hit Kuma, forcing him to let go of Mira, who flew into the air. "What the hell is he?" Mira as Kuma looks at her with his emotionless, "He didn't respond to my attack." Look like I have to use my strongest attack, Mira said. It a shame that the water is so far away, but the ice could work. Evil explosion, Mira shouted as the ice started to shake and crack as the pirates and navy around was run away from them as a giant ice hill raises from the ground and flowing over her head. It was as big as the one Jozu threw earlier. Now die you team, Mira shouted as she hurls it at Kuma, who said. Ursa shock. With Hinata. Hinata dodges an attack that slices a navy soldier in half, then charges toward Doflamingo with a palm thrust when something block her attack. She looks up to see Dalmatian, who throws a punch at her, but she dodges it by jump back way. Just like you to hide behind somebody, why don't you fight me yourself, Hinata shouted. The fuffu if you can beat my puppet, Doflamingo replied. This will only take a second, Hinata replied with a smirk on her face. Doflamingo, you team, let me go, Dalmatian shouted. He knew the reputation of the warrior princess devil fruit power, the ability to stop a person power by touching them for a period. Fuffu you wish, Doflamingo replied. Dalmatian dashed forward at speeds many could not follow. Unfortunately for Dalmatian, Hinata could follow. As Dalmatian threw a punch at Hinata, she caught it effortlessly but noticed the power behind it as the wind and dust blew behind him from the force of the punch. Not bad, Dalmatian, but you have to do better. Bringing her right hand up, she hit Dalmatian with a palm thrust to the face, sending him sprawling back until he put his hands on the ground to flip himself up. Hinata shot forward at faster speed and threw a palm thrust at Dalmatian, who barely dodged it by moving his head. Dalmatian repaid her, grabbing Hinata's outstretched arm before pulling her down to knee her in the face, but she blocked it with her hands. She swung up her head and the back of her head caught Dalmatian in his chin, which burst his lip and sent him flying a few feet away. Dalmatian hit the floor hard but was back on his feet within seconds because he wasn't controlling his body, but as he got up, Hinata was in front of him waiting. This is going to hurt, Dalmatian. Gentle step, twin dragon, Hinata said as blue-like flames cover her hand and form the shape of a dragon head as the attack pierces through Dalmatian's stomach, who scream out in pain before he went limp. Suddenly Hinata shouted rotation, destroying the invisible string that was in the form of a net from around her. Sneak attack won't work on me, my Byakugan see everything, Hinata said with a smirk on her face. Fuffu I will remember that, Doflamingo replied. With Conan. Vapor disc, Conan shouted as she throws the disc, but it harmlessly passes through Kizaru and slices through some navy soldiers, killing them. Light beam as the attack went through Conan's stomach, as Crocodile noted, there is no way to tell how devil fruit powers will fare when pitted against one another. And destroy some pirates. It looks like our devil fruit power won't settle our fight, Conan said as she looked at Kizaru, who had an unusual serious face on him. Then wings started to form out of Conan's back and Kizaru started to turn into light, then both fighters vanished from everyone's sights. They only reappearing when either they hit each other or dodged. Every now and again craters would form on the floor, small craters, but hell, they're making craters by punching each other, that is saying something as some of the pirates and navy soldier look on. Suddenly they heard a crash and saw Conan picking herself out of the wall of the bay. I got to hand it to you, Kizaru, you really are worthy of being called Admiral. Conan said as her body turned into paper armor. Before anyone could even blink, Kizaru was sent soaring through the bay wall, causing an explosion. Everyone looked back to see Conan was where Kizaru used to be, a true testament on her newfound speed. Before anyone could say a word, though, there was a sudden blast of light and the rubble that was around Kizaru blows up. With Mira. Mira was in the grip of Kuma, who was trying to squeeze the life out of her. Flashback. An 18-year-old girl with long, white hair and has a portion of it bound in a frontward ponytail. She has blue eyes, large breasts, and a voluptuous body. She wears a maroon dress with pink trimmings that reveals her ample cleavage. Was running. Mira and her siblings had just escaped from Mariajoa. They were captured by slaver traders and sold to the Tenryubido. During their time as slaves, Mira and her siblings Lysana and Elfman, they were forced to eat the soul fruit to entertain her captors. The three suffered the greatest horrors imaginable until 4 years later. A man by the name of Fisher Tiger came along and rescued them. Now they were running, but to where their village was destroyed, so they had nowhere to go. Mira, where are we going? Elfman asked. I'm not sure, Mira shouted. Let fly, we are running out of land, Lysana said as she turned into a bird and flew into the sky. Mira transformed into her demon form and followed her sister. Hey, aren't you forgetting somebody? Elfman shouted. Oh, I forgot you can't fly like Lisa-chan and I, Mira said as she flew back down for him, then back into the sky. They had all eaten the soul fruit, but different model. Lysana had ate the soul fruit model animal, allowing her to transform into any animal that she defeated and took their soul. Elfman had ate the beast model and Mira the demon model. They flew over the sea until they reach an island where they land on an island when suddenly they felt something stick into their neck and fell to the ground. 30 minutes later. Mira wake up to find herself in a bed with her brother and sister was in the beds next to her. Lysana, Elfman wake up, Mira said as she jumps out of the bed. "So you are awake," said a short man. He walked into the room only to be attacked by Mira, but the old man was too fast for her and pinned her against the wall. "Easy, young lady, I'm not going to hurt you," the old man said. "Why should I believe?" Mira fired back. "Because I'm the one who saved you from being eaten by those demons," the old man replied. "Fine, I'll believe you for now," Mira said as the old man let go of her. "By the way, my name is Makarov and welcome to Fairy Tale Island," the old man said. "My name is Marahan and those are my siblings Elfman and Lysana," Mira replied, pointing toward the people on the bed. After Elfman and Lysana woke up, Makarov took them about Fairy Tale. They were hunters of demons, pirates, navy and etc. They took any job as long as they are getting paid. He even offers to train them if they stayed. 3 years later. Marahan and her sibling had learned all things that Makarov had taught them. They had gotten stronger, especially Mira. She was the strongest female around until a girl named Urza arrived. The two fought constantly everywhere they saw each other. Marahan disliked Urza and didn't want Elfman and Lysana associating with her or anyone she considered to be on Urza's team. Mira and her siblings formed a 3-man cell called the Soul Siblings. They grew to fame rather quickly. They had a 100% successful rate. Everybody wanted their service. They hunted everyone, no question asked. The only that they don't hunt is each other or their friends. Throughout the years, Mira had gained the title Demon Mira after she destroys an entire village and killing lots of people trying to catch a pirate. The only thing the people saw was her demonic eyes and laughter as she tears the guy to shreds. It was later revealed that she had killed the wrong man. She did not kill a pirate, she killed a captain who working undercover, and now the navy was after her. They put up an 80 million berries wanted poster. 3 years later. During these years, Mira fame has risen even higher after she defeat Vice Admiral Freed, who was once a part of Fairy Tale, had betrayed them and captured her sister, and nearly beat brother to death on that day. He and many Navy soldier found out why they call her a demon. The only thing people found of Freed was his green hair. After that her bounty jumped to 200 million berries. 3 years later. "Sister, let which one of us deserve Nastu?" Mira said as she kept her gaze on Lysana. The younger girl was unfazed, in fact she seemed excited. Natsu for his part knew Lysana was strong, but Marahan was so much more. "Stop this guys, I am not worth it," Nastu shouted. "Yes you are," they both shout back. A sudden gust of wind swept all around as Marahan prepared to fight with all she had. "Take over. Satan Soul," Mira shouted. "Sister, don't be too severe with her." Elfman yelled to the now demon Mira. With that amount of power he was worried she could hurt Lysana. Mira seemed to ignore him as she directed her words towards her youngest sibling. "Lysana, you can still back out of this, there is no need for this fight. Just promise me that you will be happy for both of us." Her words had the opposite effect. Instead of backing down, Lysana had more determination now. Natsu saw the fire in their eyes and decided he would let her fight. "Natsu, are you insane?" Lucy said as Nastu stood next to her to observe the match. "Marahan is a 200 million berries pirate, not even you can defeat her. What if Lysana gets hurt?" "Not happening," Natsu replied with a smirk. "They won't kill each other, they're sisters after all." "Right, happy." "Aye." Lucy resigned and looked back at the center just as the match started. Lysana, not intimidated by her sister, attacked first. She used her animal soul. Bear and tried to clash Mira, only for the demonic female to stop the attack with one hand and later uppercut Lysana towards the sky. Whoa. She was serious about not holding back. Lucy's eyes bulged thinking it was already over, but to her surprise a bird-human hybrid flew down ready to strike with her talons. Lysana's animal soul. Half bird. "Oh please," Marahan swatted Lysana like she was a mere fly. "Those childish attacks won't be enough, dear sister. Fight me seriously." Animal soul. Tigress with the speed and strength this takeover gave her, she was confident of her victory. Running at an amazing speed she clawed at Mira only to hit air. The Satan Soul takeover was still much faster. Grabbing her claws, Mira immobilized the feline like Lysana and whispered to her ear, "You have forgotten how powerful I am, sister, let me remind you then." Marahan slammed her into the ground hard, leaving a crater. "Any chance stop. The fight is over." Elfman yelled, unable to continue seeing the two of them fighting when an explosion rocked the place. Everybody ran outside to find what was wrong. They saw that Fairy Tale Island was surrounded by Navy ships with Kuma leading it. "The Buster call," Makarov said as the ship started to fire at them. Fairy Tale fought with all they have, but it wasn't enough. Mira and Makarov was the last ones left. Mira watched as her brother and sister died at the hands of Kuma. Now it was her turn as she prepared for the attack to kill her. She was pushed out of the way by their master as he stopped Kuma and slammed his giant fist into Kuma's face. "Mira, get out of here," Makarov shouted. I have to avenge my family," Mira shouted back. "I said get out of here now," said an angry Makarov, which made Mira flinch. "Fine, I'll go," Mira said with a sigh as she flew away. As Mira got far from the island she heard her master's scream and she knew it was his final one. Suddenly she felt a something hit her which sends her rocketing down into the ocean. Flashback end. No, I can't afford to lose Mira as she revert back into her normal state as she loses consciousness. Way to go Kuma-sama, you killed the demon, shouted a Navy soldier as Kuma threw her into the air. Pad cannon as the attack hit, she said. Soul take over Halfas, Satan Saru. Her Fasu, as the smoke cleared, Murahin had Gain's ears that are covered by long sky blue scales, extending backwards, which have pointed edges. She also had similar scale-like armor in her forearms and hands, as well as in her legs. Murahin grew a large sky blue, stocky tail seemingly made of metal plates or scales. Her clothes also change. It was replaced by a light blue and dark blue, one-piece suit revealing her arms and legs, which is open on the front and the back, exposing most of her stomach, wide cleavage, and upper back. She also had two angel-like wings that are always pointing upwards. With great she vanishes and appeared in front of Kuma and touched him with her index finger, with send him rocketing back with great speed head towards an ice mountain when Mira appeared behind him and an uppercut to the back of the head sends him into the air where Mira was waiting for him with a leg drop that sends him back to earth. As he crashes into the ground, Mira shouted. Cosmic beam, Murahin shouted as she charges cosmic-like energy that she fired towards Kuma, which causes a massive explosion. With Naruto. Naruto came out of the building when he saw the massive explosion. So she finally getting serious, Naruto. Then he turns to Hancock. Damn Han-chan, you also destroying my precious, Naruto said as he walked towards her. Luckily I coated by balls with hockey. You team, Hancock shouted as she attacked him again. Naruto dodges a kick to the head, then block another which sends him a few feet away. Hancock, can't you forgive me, it was so long ago? Naruto asked as a tick mark appeared on her forehead. Not after what you did, Hancock shouted and swung her right leg at Naruto's head, but he caught it and lifted higher over his head, then he rocketed back with a nosebleed. I knew it, you don't wear panties underneath those sexy dresses, Naruto replied as everybody who heard rocket back in a nosebleed of their own. How dare that team tell everybody my secret? Hancock blushes inward, but outward Hancock was pissed. How dare him, only Luffy-kun should look underneath her dress. Uzumaki, I'm going to rip off your cock and feed it to my snake, Hancock shouted with great fury, then she was raised into the air by her snake. Slave arrows as it started raining down at Naruto. Naruto stood there giggling like a pervert as he remembers what he had seen when he senses something and put out his hands as the arrows bounce off his shield and going in different directions and turning navies and pirates to stone. That was close, Naruto said until he pulled out "Ts, this is going to hurt," and shouted. The sword grew 10 times its size and blocked 3 giant weapon. It sends a shock wave throughout the bay and under Naruto's feet, which gave way and sent him 10 feet into the ice. That was easy, said one of the unnamed giant when Naruto suddenly jumped out of the ground and in between the three of them and shouted Shinra Tensei. The attack sends the giants flying into different direction. One of them was flying towards Whitebeard who wasn't looking while the pirates call out his name while the navy cheer. Damn you Gaki, giving me work to do, Edward replied as he coated his hand with his DF power and started muscling up, backhand the giant and send him into some navy ships. Giant 2 was heading towards the ace while the pirates cheers. Suddenly Garp jumps of the platform and jumped into the way and put out his hand trying to stop the flying giant. Garp caught it but it pushes him back a few feet but he manages to stop it. Wow, what a workout, Garp shouted as he flexes him muscles while the navy soldiers cheered. The last giant crashes into the town on the island, destroying some of it. Shit, he's gotten stronger, he is on my level already, how did he reach there in 2 years? Akainu shouted in anger, surprising everyone. If I am going to beat him I have to caught him off guard. With Hinata. Hinata had cuts all over her body and breathing very hard, although she could see the strings, it got harder and harder to dodge them until they started catching her. Suddenly the string wrapped around her like a cocoon. Shit, looks like this is where I died, Hinata. Flashback. Hinata is the elder child of the flying Hyuga pirate leader. Hiashi Hyuga, and as the firstborn, she was the one who would take over when he died. When she was 5 years old she was kidnapped, a navy soldier who under the disguise of a pirate who was sent there to steal the Hyuga famous flying ship but took her instead. Her father killed the would-be kidnapper to save her, but Navy demanded compensation in the form of Hiashi's dead body due to having signed a peace treaty with the Navy only moments before. This ultimately resulted in the death of Hinata's uncle, Hisashi Hyuga, who sacrificed himself in order to protect his family. The Ashi had high expectations for Hinata and subjected her to grueling training. However, Hinata's slow progress and frailty disheartened her father until eventually, he deemed her a lost cause. Instead, her father chose to focus and develop Hinata's younger sister, who proved much more promising than Hinata, making her the future leader. Hinata, you worthless bitch, get over here and scrub the floor, Hanabi shouted. Hi sister Sama, said a 13-year-old Hinata as she came and started scrubbing the flood. Then their father walked in with 2 devil fruits. He didn't even look at Hinata. Father, what is that? Hanabi asked. That my dear daughter is a devil fruit, Akuma no Mi. Hiashi replied. What is a devi fruit, Akuma no Mi? Hanabi asked. The devil fruit, Akuma no Mi, is a mystical fruit found in the world that can give the eater many different and varying kinds of strange and interesting abilities depending on the class and variation of the fruit itself. Hiashi replied. What are the classes of fruit? Hanabi asked again. Paramecia, the most common of the three classes, users of Paramecia devil fruits gain superhuman physical abilities or powers. Other users can alter features of their bodies or their environment. Finally, there are some users that can manipulate and generate some kinds of substances. Zone, the users of Zone class devil fruits, gains the ability to transform into an animal and acquire the ability affiliated with said animal. A user can also transform into a human-beast hybrid form. Loja, the rarest of the three classes, users of Loja devil fruits, gain the ability to transform themselves into an element, making them intangible or indestructible. They also gain the ability related to that element and gain the skill to disperse, control and rejoin any part of their bodies. While conscious and in control of their powers, Loja users can move every part of their transformed bodies while in element form. Hiashi replied, I want a Loja fruit, I want a Loja fruit. Hanabi cried out as she jumped up and down. Sorry Hanabi, but they are extremely hard to find, Hiashi replied. Fine, what classes are the ones you have? And do you know their names? Hanabi asked. Yes my dear, the white one with triangles on it is a Paramecia class. It is called the Byakugan fruit. The primary ability of the Byakugan gives the user a near 360 degrees field of vision. The wielder is granted an automatic 50-meter field of vision around them. The second ability is being able to see through solid objects, as well as some degree of telescopic sight. It can also see through most barriers and other things such as smokescreens, can see through techniques that would otherwise hide an opponent from normal sight. He said. He pointed to the next one, that glowing lavender, that is the glow fruit. It allow the user to glow lavender, just like a boy in Sky High, don't remember his name, whose power is to glow green alone. It is also a Paramecia. Fine, at least I'll get super strength. I will be taking the first one, Hanabi said. Of course pumpkin, Hiashi replied. What about the other one? Hanabi asked. I'm going to throw it. Then a smirk came across his face as he saw Hinata scrubbing the floor. Then Hanabi followed her father's eyes to Hinata and she got the same smirk on her face too. You girl, come over here and eat this, Hiashi shouted as Hinata came over. Yes Captain Sama, Hinata said as she bowed her head and took the fruit from him and ate it. A second later, she spit it out and started to vomit. Dear Hanabi, Hiashi said as he gave her the white fruit. As she ate a second later, she spit it out. Now how do you feel? Hiashi asked. The same as usually, Hanabi replied. What about you girl, Hiashi shouted. Yes, same too, Hinata replied. Yes, it will take a while, Hiashi said. 2 days later. A scream came from Hanabi's room as all the Hyuga came rushing in to see what was wrong. As they entered her room, they saw that she was glowing lavender. Out of my way, Hiashi shouted as he pushed them out of his way. Hanabi, what's wrong? Hiashi said. Then he saw the glowing shit. I ate the wrong fruit, Hanabi, as she started to cry. The engine, Hinata's room. Hinata woke after she heard Hanabi screaming, but she paid it no mind. She continued to get ready to scrub the floor, cook dinner, wash the clothes and etc. She was about to open the door when she realized that she could see her father coming towards her, but the door was close. Then it hit her. She was the one who ate the Byakugan fruit. Then she started to laugh evilly. Serve you right, you bitch, Hinata said as she laughed even harder when her father kicked down the door. You think this is funny? Hiashi shouted as he hit her across her face and dragged her by her hair toward the engine and was about to burn out her eyes. She regained her balance and grabbed onto his hand and started to squeeze it, forcing him to let go. Then she hit him in the stomach, which sent him across the room. With this power you will never harm me again, Hinata shouted as she walks nearer to him. Then she picked him off the ground by his throat and started to squeeze it. Suddenly someone grabbed her and attaches something to her hand. Then she felt weak and Hiashi dropped out of her hands. You bitch, how dare you touch me, Hiashi shouted as he started beating her. 30 minutes later. Niji carried out a bloody and badly beaten Hinata. Father, why didn't you kill her, said Hanabi as she walks through the door. Because she finally has used to us, Hiashi replied. 10 years later. Hinata was looking through a window in the room that her father had locked her in for the last 10 years only. He only let her out to do her course. After he had badly beaten 10 years ago, Niji left her to die on the deck until one of the crew found her at Fuka, her late mother best friend, who had always took care of her when his father had beat her. After Fuka had healed her father came for her and put her in the watchtower and told the navigate to teach her all he knew. A year later. Hinata, 14 years old. She knew everything there is to know about being a navigator, and with the Byakugan she put all other navigator to shame. Because of her, when they landed for food and supply, she could spot the navy coming from miles away and warn them so they could escape, but her father never gave her any recognition. 2 years later. Hinata, 16 years old. Fuka had given her mother's dairy. 17 years ago December 2 I think my husband is trying to kill me, I saw Genji give him something to put in my tea, luckily he didn't see me switch it with Genji's tea who died a week later. 13 years ago February 4 I heard Hiashi talking to Doflamingo about help him to kill somebody, so I pack up my thing and rush towards Hinata's room to get out of here. That was the last entry in the diary. Fuka had told her that her mother died when she was 3 years old, now it made sense to her, her father, and this Doflamingo had killed her. Father, you and that team will pay, Hinata said as she punches a hole in the wall. 7 years later. Hinata had trained hard with a fighting style that she had found in her mother's diary, it was called Gentle Fist, her mother had created it, but did not finish it, she wanted to mix it with something, but she could find anything, but Hinata did she mix it with her devil fruit power. She would sneak out of the tower, night to train because of the small space of the tower, there was only a room for a bed, and Fuka would help. By the time Hinata was 23 years old she had mastered the gentle style, the only thing left to do was create her own original style. 8 trigrams 32 palms hit all of them killing all but one who was knockout. Is that all you have? Hinata shouted, but suddenly a navy soldier appeared behind and deliver a punch to her head, but dodges it, then she gave him a palm thrust to the heart killing him. How did she know that he was behind her? Does it have something to do with her devil fruit power? Bootstrap. You fool, no one can hide from my Byakugan, Hinata said coldly, then she turned towards Bootstrap. You are next as she charged towards him, suddenly his Bootstrap came alive and attacking Hinata she tried to dodge, but she was too close, the Bootstrap wrapping up like a Christmas present. Now where was I? He said. About to die, said Hinata from the cocoon rotation, and the straps were destroyed and in enrage Hinata attacked Bootstrap. 8 trigrams 64 palms. 2 palms. 4 palms. 16 palms. 32 palms. 64 palms. The last palm thrust connected his ball which sent him flying, break a hole in the ship, he land right on top of Hiashi, who was fighting, knocking him out. Everyone look up to see her in her warrior princess outfit and her Byakugan blazing. Shit, a devil fruit user, they all thought. Who's next? Asked Hinata as she jumped down and beating the crap of the remaining navy soldiers, thus saving the crew. Minutes earlier. A navy soldier woke to see Bootstrap get his ass kicked, he waited until he saw the girl jump done, he got up and ran out of the ship. You bitch, it's your fault this happened, Hiashi said. She started beat her with a whip made of sea stone across her body, as she screamed out in pain. Fuka rush over to stop Hiashi from beating her anymore, but Niji restrained her. A week later. Hinata was in her watchtower looking at the sea through the clouds when she dodges an attack from her sister. You bitch, you stole my thunder, Hanabi shouted again as she attacks Hinata, who kept on dodging them until the guard came and outnumbered her, then she felt the sea stone whip across her body, she beat her until she was unconscious. 30 minutes she awoke when she felt someone rubbing something on her body and started to scream. Calm down, Hinata, it me. Fuka said that made her calm down. What did I do this time? Hinata asked. This, Fuka said as she showed her a wanted poster. Hinata Hyuga Aka, the warrior princess bounty. 80 million berries. 2 years later. Hinata 25. Throughout the 2 years her fame got bigger, the navy found out that she was the reason why the Hyuga pirates keep on get away from them. They made it so that Hyuga couldn't go anywhere with being attacked. So the Hyugas would make deals with the navy pirates to kill her, but she would kill all of them. Her bounty raised when she stopped Captain Chung-Li, who had ate the invisible fruit, by finding her and disabling her power and killed her. Hinata's bounty went up after that, surpasses her father's 90 million berries to 120 million. Hinata was scrubbing the flood when the ship landed. She used her Byakugan to see what was going on, then she saw a weird looking man boarding the ship, then the ship started to rise. She followed the man with her eyes as he entered the control room, then they started to talk. Luckily for her she could read lips. Control room. Doflamingo, it's good to see you again, Hiashi said. That name made her frozen, it was the name of the person that killed her mother. The fufu Hiashi, who am I killing? Doflamingo asked. Same old Don, Hiashi said as he showed him the picture. Didn't I kill her years ago? Don asked. No, that was the mother, Hiashi replied. Consider it down free of charge, Doflamingo said. I knew I could count on you, Hiashi, as he walked away when suddenly Hinata saw some string attack Hiashi, then he fell apart into pieces which made Hinata throw up all over the place. Hiashi-sama, you team, shouted Niji as he attacked Doflamingo, then he suddenly stopped and turned around and started killing everybody in the control room. So he is a devil fruit user, Hinata. Why are you doing this? Niji asked. Fufu, because the navy want this ship and all the Hyugas dead, Doflamingo replied. Should I have to get out of here? Hinata said as she rushed towards Fuka's room. When she felt the ship going down she looked in the control room to Niji at the wheel. The ship landed, an army of navy soldier entering the ship, then the ship rise again. Shit, I'm trapped, Hinata said as she reaches Fuka room. Fuka, we have to get out of here, Hinata said. But how? We are in the air, Fuka replied. The escape pads, Hinata said as they rushed towards the pads when Fuka pushed her out of the way as she was cut into pieces. "You team, I'm going to kill you," Hinata shouted as she attacked Doflamingo, but the soldier got in her way as she defeated them. She saw the string coming at her and dodges it, but the soldiers wasn't so lucky. "Your sting attack won't work on me, my Byakugan sees all," Hinata shouted as she started kill more Navy soldier until she started scream. "Should my eyes are killing me, I've been using my Byakugan way too long." Hinata, when she several strings pierce her body, she scream out in pain. "Fufu, I can see why the Navy want to get rid of you, you have a very powerful devil fruit ability," Doflamingo said as he was reading a scroll that Hiashi kept with the Byakugan information on it. "Join me and you shall live," Doflamingo said. Hinata spit in his face. "I rather die than join the man that killed both of my mother," Hinata shouted. "Fufu, you are your mother's child, that's why I'm killing you the same way as her," Doflamingo said as Hinata started walk towards an empty escape pad chute. "Fufu, goodbye warrior princess," Doflamingo said. She went in it and pressed the bottom and the pads open and fell about 1500 feet. As she was about to hit the water, a strange bubble of water shoot up cushion her fall. Flashback end. "Now you died," Doflamingo said as he wiggles his finger, but nothing happened. "What the hell is going on here?" Then he saw Naruto resheathing his sword. "Can he see my stings too?" Doflamingo fufu Naruto-kun, we meet again, trying to play it off, but inside he was panicking. Naruto did response, he just charges at him while dodging all of Doflamingo's attack while he got closer and closer. From the right, top, left and down. As Naruto got closer he dodges, he went to the left, then he duck his head, then to jump to the right, finally into the air, then he vanishes and appeared in front of Doflamingo and punched to his stomach, sent him clashing a few feet away and was about to continue. "Captain, stop, he is mine," Hinata shouted. "Okay Hinata-chan," Naruto said as he jumped away. "Thank you Captain Kun," Hinata said as her eyes caught something coming at her and she jumps out of the way. "Fufu, you fight his with me," Doflamingo said with a creepy smile on his face. Hinata charged at him with a palm thrust, but he dodges it. She strikes again, but he dodges it by flipping into the air and spins 3 times. As he landed, Hinata was right there in front of him and a palm thrust to the stomach sends him crashing into some pirates and Navy soldiers. "Now time to pay," Hinata shouted as she rushes him again. Gentle step Hitomi barrage and in a blink of an eye was gone. Doflamingo was getting up when he receives a barrage of palm thrust all over his body, sending him into a frozen ice wave. "Doflamingo-sama," shouted the Navy soldiers. "Better," the captain shouted as they attack her. "The fufu was that it, I didn't feel a thing," Doflamingo replied as he got up and saw Hinata fighting a group of Navy soldiers. He wiggled his fingers to cut her into pieces, but nothing happened. "Shit, Doflamingo, she had neutralized his powers, he has to hide until he gets it back." Hinata had just defeated them when her eyes caught Doflamingo running away. "You are not getting away," Hinata shouted as she ran after. Shave, but she already saw him coming and dodged it by rolling to the side as a vice admiral was in front of her. "Can't let you kill our warlord," said a handsome man with long blonde hair that reaches his shoulder. "I don't have time for this," Hinata said as she runs towards Doflamingo direction, but he stops her again. "You can't escape from my handsomeness," the blonde said with a nice guy smile and pose. He looks like the guy from the Cell game DBZ who uses the roses, but Hinata ignored him and ran past him. "How dare you ignore my handsomeness," he shouted in anger as he attacks her. "I never seen a girl ignores Vice Admiral handsomeness before," said a Navy soldier. "Hell, the power of my handsomeness, Vice Admiral handsome," shouted twin blades of handsomeness. "You are in my range," Hinata said without looking and appeared in front of Vice Admiral handsome before he could use his attack. "Not the face," Vice Admiral handsome shouted. 8 trigrams 32 balls crusher, the Vice Admiral girly scream could be heard throughout the battlefield and every guy around the world and the battlefield was hold on to their balls for dear life. With Naruto. "Damn, Hinata is cold," Naruto said. "I almost feel sorry for that guy." Then he saw Hancock kicking the ass of the pirates and Navy soldier and started to drool. Suddenly Naruto turned around to see a giant magma fist was in front of him. The only thing he could do was put out his hand to block as it hit him and send him flying into the town as he screamed out in pain as a Kingu chase after him. Cut. Chapter 4, Machine Gun and the Succumb. The pink-cloaked figure had its hands full dealing with a division of captains. Unlike regular navies, they wouldn't stay down. The pink-cloaked figure slammed one's head into the ground, crushing it. The other came at her from behind but dodges, then pushes its hand through the navy's chest and pulls out his heart. Seeing this, the others started to back away when a pacifista started firing at the figure that dodges them until one finally caught the figure and explodes. The navies started to cheer when they heard Shark Brick Fist as the figure appeared in front of the pacifista and the pacifista was sent flying into the ground and explode. As the figure landed, the cloak was gone and everyone saw the figure's face. "I can't be I though, they all died out," shouted a Navy soldier. With Kurumu. Oh my, it appears I have done something to make you angry as well, Kishishishi Mariah said cockily as he pointed to the blouse in his hand. How dare you, only my destiny one is allowed to touch my clothes, Kurumu yelled as the pirates and navy was blow back with nosebleeds, seeing her in bra. Suddenly she disappeared. What's this? Mariah asked as out of nowhere Kurumu appeared behind the massive tyrant and with a powerful kick to his head back, sends him crashing into the ground. Ishishishi, I must admit that whatever that trick was impressive, but you still pale in comparison to me, Shadow Dragons Mariah shouted as the navy soldier around him fell to the ground as the dragons appeared and attack Kurumu, who tries to dodges as they slams into her. Ishishishi, foolish girl, you are no match for me, Mariah said as the shadows came back to him as he observed them and got bigger. You team, Kurumu shouted as she got up and attacked Mariah, who stopped her attack and slammed her into the ground and started pounding her into the ground. Flashback. I don't know anything about Rosario plus vampire, the only thing I know about is reading other fiction about it and Wilkes, so I took this part from another fiction that uses canon I think can add my style to it by changing up some things to fit the story. Help, somebody please help me. Curiosity getting the better of him, Sukyun headed in the direction of the voice and came across an injured girl. He knelt at her side and checked her over. She had short cyan blue hair held together by a band of some sort and purple eyes. She was dressed in a yellow sweater vest over a white short-sleeved shirt and the school-required skirt. What would draw most males' attention would be her breasts. They were easily borderline D cups, something that took him a bit longer to move his eyes away from. Are you okay? He asked after finishing his own examination. The girl looked up at him with an almost sheepish smile. I'm so sorry about this, she said, pushing off the ground before falling back down with a grunt. Sukyun quickly and carefully rolled her onto her back and slipped his arms under her shoulders and knees before he stood and carried her towards his ship. He paused in mid-step when she wrapped her arms around his neck and rested her head on his shoulder. Do I get to know the name of my savior? She asked innocently while batting her eyes. The sensation of a beginning illusion started to cloud his mind and he narrowed his eyes before dispersing the feeling. Captain Sukun, the replied as he continued to walk, of the monster pirates, and you are? Hirono Kurumu, she replied with a smile, I'm sorry about this again. It's just these silly things keep causing me back problems because of their size. The odd thing is that they're so soft that sometimes I forget they have any weight to them. To emphasize this, she turned in his arms and pulled his head into her bust. Kurumu giggled at his actions before she released the hold on his head. Now free from the marshmallow soft cushion-like prison, Sukyun calmly took in several breaths for air before looking back into the eyes of the cyan blue-haired girl. Now, Sukyun-kun, Kurumu said softly in a hypnotic manner, you will be mine, right? Look at my eyes. She said as she looked up at him. Please be my friend. Sukyun suddenly lost all control of his body as he was mesmerized by her violet spheres. He felt himself wrap his arms around Kurumu and begin hugging her tightly while she continued to rub herself against him. He stopped, however, as he sensed another, more familiar presence. Sukyun, who's she? Mocha asked as she sought Sukyun with his arms around Kurumu. Who is this bitch, Tsukun? Kurumu asked as she stroked Sukyun's chest, surprised at the muscle she found there. Who cares, Sukyun said before grabbing hold of Kurumu once again, holding her close. Mocha's eyes widened in shock as Kurumu grabbed hold of Sukyun's hand and began to drag him away. Let's go, somewhere private, Sukyun. She said as she looked up at him again, the mesmerizing feeling washing over him once more. Wait, Sukyun. Mocha cried as she walked after them. No, I am not going to wait for you, leave me alone, bitch. Sukyun said, Mocha's eyes widening in shock again as she registered what Sukyun had said. Sukyun's mind grinded to a halt as his inner self screamed at him to grow a pair and overthrow this mind trick. He doesn't want you anymore, he has me now, Kurumu said as they left, leaving Mocha standing there on the verge of tears. 1 hour later. Why are you crying? Ruby asked. Sukyun left me for another girl, Mocha replied as she describes the girl. Why? Ruby asked. I don't, he was acting strange, Mocha replied. Was he acting like somebody was controlling him? Ruby asked. Yes, how did you know? Mocha asked. Because I heard rumors that Kurumu is on this island, Ruby replied. Who is Kurumu? Mocha asked. She ate succubus fruit which allows her to control men. Her plan is to turn all of the men here into obedient love slaves who will help her find One Piece, Mizer said as she came out of the ship. So that white Sukun was acting like that, Mocha replied. Yes, we have to save him, Ruby said. But Kurumu? This meet Sukyun, Kurumu said as she leaned forward to kiss him when she was tackled to the ground. Yeah, Kurumu cried out. Kurumu-chan, Sukyun cried out only to see Mocha send flying off Kurumu. I'm fine. Kurumu said as she dusts herself off, turning her gaze to where Mocha landed. She growled, "Why don't you all come out and face me as the rest of them come out, let's see just how true those rumors are right about the amazing power of the monster pirate." "You're pretty cocky, you succubus," Miser said with a smirk on her face as she pulled out a staff. "Let's show her why we are called Monster Duo," Ruby replied. Suddenly Mocha appeared behind in her and swift to the head sends Kuruma rocketing back into some boulders. "Don't interfere, this is my fight," Mocha replied with a growl that make the girl step back as she flies toward Kurumu who get up and charge at Mocha. Kurumu swiped her long nails at Mocha who dodges them, but every time Kurumu who get closer and closer to cut her, then suddenly Mocha let out a painful scream which silent by a kick to the face by Kurumu as Mocha was sent into the trees. "Ah, Mocha-san, watch out." Miser Ruby cried out as Mocha woke up, dove out of the way of dive bomb by the succubus. Spears as spear came at her, forcing her to fly higher in the air to avoid them. "Are you alright, Mocha?" Miser asked. "I'm fine," Mocha replied. "No you are not, you are injured, Mocha," Ruby said as she saw a claw mark on Mocha's arm. "Don't worry about it, it's just a scratch," Mocha replied. "There you are, and it seems like you friends decided to help you," Kurumu said. They looked to see Kurumu flying above them. "Are you just going to stand there and check out my sexy body?" Kurumu shouted as she flexed her claws, closing in on them. "I don't need their help to defeat you, bitch," Mocha growled as she started to transform. Her hair was now silver and her eyes were a piercing red. "So finally decided to take me seriously," Kurumu said. "So, you think you can take me on in a fight, little girl?" Mocha replied, her fangs revealed as she gave a slightly menacing grin. "Well, what you are waiting for?" Mocha vanishes and appeared behind Kurumu and grabbed her by the tail before flinging her into the ground. Kurumu let out a scream as she was sent crashing into ground, creating a crater. "Is that it? After I finally decided to take you seriously," Mocha said as she walks toward the down Kurumu. "I'll teach you what happens when you challenge me." Suddenly a fist to the face sends her flying into the trees. "I can't let you hurt my Kurumu Chanra," to fully transformed Tsukune. "Mocha," the girl shouted as they ran towards her. I want you to distract Tsukune for me," Mocha said. "For how long? Because you know we are no match for him," Ruby replied. "Not long, 3 minutes tops," Mocha replied as they attack Tsukune, forcing him to leave the down Kurumu. "No you place, bitch," Mocha said as she raises her left foot into the air and slam it down on Kurumu who dodged it in the last second. "Shut up. Why, you don't know anything about me," Kurumu replied as she stood up, trying her best to ignore the pain. She spread her wings and flew at her a second time. "What a foolish girl," Mocha said as she vanishes again and catches Kurumu by her neck and slamming her body to the ground as Kurumu coughed up blood and struggled to get up only to have a foot placed over her stomach. "Now you died," Mocha said and was about to deliver the finishing blow when suddenly Kurumu caught her hand. Mocha couldn't believe where was she get her strength from. Then she saw Kurumu transforming as half her skin turns red, expect her hair, her wings and nails grew longer. "No, I will not," Kurumu roared and deliver a bone-crushing punch to Mocha's face that sends her flying into the air. Then Kurumu appeared above her and kick to the spine sent back into the ground. Fisher leg drop, Kurumu roar and came down at high speed about to finish off Mocha. With Tsukune. Tsukune had defeat the girls when he saw Mocha crashing into the ground, then he saw that Kurumu was going to attack again. "Mocha-chan, Tsukune, if that catches her she will die." Seeing Mocha about to die finally broke Kurumu's spell as he rushed towards her. With Kurumu. She was about to finish the girl when a figure stepped between the two and blocked the attack which destroyed the ground beneath them. As Tsukune fell to his knees and coughed up blood. "Kurumu-san, that's enough," Tsukune said as the blood leaked out of his mouth. But Kurumu wasn't there. Her inner succubus had taken over and backhanded Tsukune sends him fling away from Mocha as she picks up Mocha by the throat and started to squeeze it. "Now who's foolish?" Kurumu asked as continued to squeeze Mocha's neck when suddenly her hand loosened and she fell to the ground out cold. Next day. Kurumu overheard the pirates talking about her. "I know what Kurumu did was wrong, but I don't think she meant for it to be like this. Honestly, I believe she's not that cruel of a person. Just like you say, Mocha-chan," Tsukune said. "Yes she is, look at what she did you, she hypnotized you into loving her," Mocha fired back. "Tsukune-kun, I'm sorry this happened. I was just looking some random guy to help me find One Piece when I saw you and I could resist. I never meant for you or your crew to get hurt," Kurumu said as she walked into the room. "Kurumu," Tsukune replied as he looked at Mocha, "I won't lie and say I'm happy that you did all this, but I guess the fact that you feel bad shows you're not a cruel person." He smiled a little. "I'm sure we can all be friends, Kurumu." "Friends?" Kurumu repeated, her voice lifting a bit. "Really? End of canon, I think." 10 years later. Ember Island, East Blue. During these years Kurumu had become the second strongest of the monster pirates. She and Tsukune labeled the destructive duo. Anytime they were together, there were lots of destruction around them. She thought work together would eventually win his heart, but she was wrong. Kurumu walks towards Sukun's bedroom to sneak into it as she normally does with a breakfast in hand and picture of her for him to enjoy when she heard some sounds coming out of it. Harder Tsukun-kun, oh yes I kuming Mocha screamed that stopped Kurumu in her track. She couldn't believe that Tsukun was having sex with Mocha. Tears begun to flow down her eyes as she took off through the ceiling. Mocha I love you Tsukun replied as he laid beside Mocha when he heard a crash as they both jumped out of the bed to see what was going on. They opened the door to see a picture of Kurumu, food on the ground and a hole in the ceiling. Shit Kurumu-chan heard us said a worried Tsukun. Who care what she thinks you were always mine, Mocha replied as she drags him back into the room. With Kurumu on Rock Island. I can't believe he did this to me after I confessed to him and kiss him yesterday Kurumu said. I told you he would do this to you replied Rumu. Shut you bitch and leave me alone this all you fault, if I didn't tell him about you, I would be the one kuming Kurumu shouted. Why you ungrateful little bitch if it was for me you wouldn't have even confessed to him Rumu roared. And look where it got me a broken heart so thanks a lot, Kurumu shouted with tears in her eyes, wish I never met you. After all I'd done for you this is how you repay me then fine I won't help you anymore Rumu shouted. Ooh. Kurumu was knocked out of her thoughts when she felt the explosion and turned around to smoke coming off the island, so she transformed and used her enhanced vision to see that it was coming from her ship, then she took off into the air fly as fast as she could, but she was far away from Ember Island, so it would take some time. Ember Island 20 minutes later. Kurumu arrived to see her ship destroy ice everywhere and saw her friends on the ground dead, but she realized their bodies didn't have any scratch on them, only their shadow was missing. Mocha-chan Tsukun scream out and a shadow pierces her chest, hearing the scream Kurumu rushed toward it. You team you going to pay Tsukun shouted as he attacked the massive figure. Ishishishi the figure said as some shadow spike pierces his body. Tsukun Kurumu shouted as she attacks the figure you dodges it and slam her into the ground and shouted. Zombie soldiers as her friend's body started attacking suddenly she was frozen in a block of ice, then she heard. Empty fish thrust she was hit several times which broke the ice and sent her crashing into the shore. Damn you Ku shouted as she dodges an ice spear and flew higher into the air. Rumu I need you help Ku said. Rumu. Rumu please help me Ku said again. Rumu. Forget you bitch I'll do it myself, Ku said as she flew back down and smashed right into Mizer taking her out when suddenly she dodges a punch from the Iron Maiden, who sent Mizer further down into the ground. Seraphic Feather Ruby shouted as the feather came at her. Ku manages to dodge some of them until some of them pierces her body as she scream out in pain when flash speed and punch send her into the ground leaving a massive crater. Ishishishi she is done for come back my zombie soldier Mariah order as they retreat to the ship and set sail with his ship trailing. Rumu please help me I sorry, Ku said as she remembered the first they met. 5 years earlier. Kurumu was get her ass kicked by Navy she was outnumbered and tired she had to feed over 100 of them, but they kept on coming. Mindscape. Where am I? Kurumu asked. So we finally meet said a voice. Who are you? Asked a scared Kurumu. I am your inner succubus and you are in your mind the voice replied. Inner succubus, that means you are a side effect of the devil fruit Kurumu asked. Yes I am the voice replied. So you are here to help me? Kurumu asked. No I here to help myself the voice replied. But you are me succubus and said a confused Kurumu. No I am my own person now go to sleep and let me fight and my name is Rumu not succubus and the voice said as Kurumu fell to the ground. Outside the mindscape. Come and get me big boys Rumu said as she started to her skin turns red and her hair vanishes, the next thing the navies knew their heads were off their bodies. From that day on that was what their relationship was like. Rumu only helped her when she was close to death, really close. Flashback within a flashback end. Rumu I sorry please help me avenge my friends Ku pleaded. Rumu. Fine I'll do it myself, Ku shouted as she got up and flew into the air and spotted the ship and charged towards it as she started to spin. If I'm going to die I'll take everybody with me Ku shouted. Echo saw it coming, but he was too late he only had time to save himself by jumping into his ship and Ku hit the ship at high speed, destroying it completely. No, I can't believe I lost those beautiful bodies, Mariah shouted. Flashback end. Back on the battlefield. Rumu-chan it's your turn Ku said in the crater. Finally Rumu replied. Now die shadow spy Mariah receives a uppercut to his face that sends him into the air, only for Rumu appeared up there waiting for him as she sends him back down as he land on the receives fist into gut, causing a large crater to form underneath him. Who the hell are you cough? Mariah asked as he pulled himself out of the crater to see the new Kurumu, check out my profile page to see the new form. Your worst nightmare Rumu replied as she attacks him again. Shadow lizard Mariah shouted as the two horn-like things on Rumu's shift to the front of her fist, which she used to cut the lizard in half as she slam it into Mariah, who dodges in the last minute. Shit she gotten stronger Mariah as the navy and pirates started to drop like flies as he started to get bigger. Ishishishi no cannot stop me now, Mariah shouted. Bigger doesn't mean better, Rumu said as she dodges an attack from his giant swords. Where the hell are you? Mariah shouted. Right above you, Fisher leg drop, Rumu shouted as Mariah receives a kick to the jaw and sends him a few feet away. You bitch, Mariah shouted as he picked himself off the ground as few teeth fell out. Fisher barrage as he received of kicks that sends shockwave around, destroying the grounds beneath them as the shadows started to come out of Mariah's mouth, shirking him back to his original size as he fell on his back. Is that all? I came out to play for nothing, Rumu shouted as she flies high into the air. Skydive Fisher as she came down at incredible speed and smashed her leg into Mariah's stomach, forcing him to spit blood, cracking the ice below them as Mariah fell in it. With Ryo. The man went wide-eyed, fast. Hawkeye twirled around in time to block a slash at his back, but the ground beneath him shattered into a crater. This got a shocked looks from the Navy soldier. What the hell is going on? Hawkeye thought before he let down his guard and jumped back in time. Hawkeye looked at Ryo before charging at him at his top speeds, this left after images in the hallway. With Naruto. Naruto got up. What the hell was that? Naruto asked when he heard. Magma Fist Akainu was in front of him to finish him when Naruto caught his fist with his right hand. Team Akainu as he swings his other hand at Naruto, who caught it. Magma pup, you are no match for me anymore, Naruto said with a smirk on his face. That what you thigh Akainu, a headbutt sends him flying back into the bay with a loud crash. What the hell was that? Grap shouted when Magma shoot up into the air. Living force was roared throughout the bay. You called? Naruto said as he appeared in the bay as he threw away his burn-up shirt, exposing his abs and scar that looks like a chain across his chest and a burn scar on his shoulder. It seems you are a lot stronger than I thought if you managed to escape the Red Devil with only a scar, Akainu said as her name sent shockwave of fear throughout the bay. But the only thing he got, said a shocked Navy soldier. Yeah, I heard she rip off a guy's balls through his throat, replied another Navy soldier. Yeah, I heard she invented man-hating, replied another Navy soldier. I wish you had killed him, Kushina-sama Hancock, even if he is your son. The only woman to kick my ass, the three admirals. She as strong as he, brother Grap, Whitebeard and Sengoku. With Luffy. Who the hell is the Red Devil? Luffy asked. She is the world's strongest woman and Gold D. Rogers' sister, Ivan replied. So she's related to Ace, Luffy said as Ivan nods his head. Then why did she leave Ace alone? I'll kick her ass when I see her. Don't be stupid, straw boy, you are no match for her, and the reason she didn't look after Ace is because she hates anything that is related to her brother, Ivan replied. With Naruto. You say something, Naruto replied as he uses his finger to clear his ears, while Akainu growled as he launches himself at Naruto. Magma Tornado, Akainu shouted as he started to spin as Naruto dodges by jumping into the air and throw a force punch at Akainu that scatter him across the place. Why don't you just give up now, Akainu? Naruto asked. You will never beat me. Not until justice has been served. Akainu shouted as he attacked Naruto again, who dodges his attack, but Akainu was get faster by the minute until Naruto was sent flying into the buildings. Damn, that hurt, Naruto said as he received another hit to his stomach that created a crater. Now you die, Akainu said as he picked Naruto up by his neck with his right hand as magma form on the left when receive a kick to his stomach and sends him away from Naruto, but he manages to land on his feet. Cough cough, looks like I underestimated you, Naruto said. Enough talk, Uzumaki. Akainu shouted before he launches 10 large magma balls at Naruto at high speed, but Naruto just stood there as the magma ball went in different direction. Those kinds of attack don't work on me, Naruto replied. With Machine Gun Joe. Double Rocket Joe shouted as his head turned into a rocket launcher as the attack went through Smoker and blow up some navies and pirates. White Launcher, Smoker shouted as he came and Joe and hit him in his face with a jut that sends him crashing into the ground. Joe, you are a fool, none of your attacks can harm me, Smoker said as he walked closer to Joe. Flashback. 4 years earlier. Dragon Island, East Blue. Frank, are you sure about this? Because I've been hearing rumors about a guy that can turn his body into smoke is in this area, Joe said. Those are just rumors, Joe, Frank replied. And believe the big bad Joe is afraid, 14K said. Is that so, Joe replied as his hands turned into 2 machine guns. Stop the fight, you two, we have work to do, Frank replied as he walked between them. Hi, Captain, they both shouted. Now our target is the Red Dragon, I heard he is the richest man on the island, Frank said. Joe, your job is to take him out from long range on the tallest building while we sneak into the house with the distraction. With Joe. Joe transforms his right hand into an M29 incisor sniper rifle as he took aim as the Red Dragon was talking to his people when suddenly smoke appeared around his target. What the hell? Joe, somebody has betrayed us, Frank as he talked into the snail. I know, I see the smoke too, but we have come too far to turn back now, Frank replied as continued his mission. Whatever you say, Captain, Joe replied as he took aim. Fool, their reason I'm the best marksman in the world. Swift bullet as a bullet came out at high speed, hitting his target 270 feet away straight through the smoke in 1 millisecond. The target 1 millisecond earlier. His head blew off and bullet 5 other people. The people saw what had happened, they started to scream and run as this was going Frank, and the rest of his pirate was in the house robbing it. 10 minutes later. They came out the back door instead of the front like they previously planned, only to be surrounded by Navy and their leader Smoker. He is a muscular white-haired man, smoking 2 cigars at once. He was wearing a large thick white and blue specialist marine jacket which he was open with greenish fur, lining the neck, wrists and hem. Many cigars are strapped to the jacket, the kanji for justice, Sisigi, written on the back of it. He was also wearing a brown leather gloves, blue jeans with a brown belt and large military-issue brown leather boots. Frank, I've been waiting for you, Smoker said. Who are you and how did know of our plan? Frank asked as he pulls out his sword. Wouldn't like to know, Smoker replied, only to see Frank behind him and slash appeared on his chest and dead Navy soldier on the ground behind. He's fast, if it was for my DF power I would be dead already. Smoker as he laughs, you attack wouldn't work on me. So the rumors were through. I should have listened to Joe when suddenly he deflected a gun shoot and jump away. Wide out, Smoker shouted as smoke covered the whole place. Cough, cough. Frank, he couldn't breathe, then he heard steps behind as he turned on his snail. With Joe. What the hell has taken Frank and 14K so long in anger? Joe shouted when his snail came on. How the might have fall, a familiar voice said. 14K, you the team that betray us? Cough. Frank replied as Joe was speechless. He could believe 14K would betray them. Why did you do it? Frank asked. Because of the money, of course, and with you death, the death pirate will be under my control, 14K replied with a laugh. Yeah, right, the next leader will be Joe, Frank replied. Why would the Navy allow you escape? Because they only want you and Joe, 14K replied. Then he saw the communication snail. You team, you had it on all along. Frank laughed. You may have caught me, but Joe should be gone by now. Then 14K steps on his face and destroy the communication snail. 14K, I will kill you, Joe shouted as he jumped off the roof and head for the ship with tears in his eyes. 2 years later. Joe was going back to the island where his captain had died. As he approached the island he was surrounded by Navy ships. Machine gun Joe, surround, you have nowhere else to go, a familiar voice. Joe turned around to see the man he had been hunted the last 2 years. 14K, why don't come down here and make me, Joe replied as 14K jumped aboard his ship. Big words, little man, 14K said as he attacked Joe, who dodges his attack, and an uppercut to his face sends him flying to the mast. Suddenly he heard wide out as smoke appeared and he begun to cough and he could see anything. Suddenly he dodges a gunshot only to receive 2 in his shoulder as he fell to the ground as 14K stood over him. Now died, 14K shouted as a gun shoot was heard. The smoke cleared to see a Kalashnikov in 14K's mouth and his brain was all over the ground. White launcher, Joe heard as he was hit across his face, which sends him crashing to the rooms. If I dead here then I'm taking all of you with me. Scattered bullets, Joe replied as bullets started coming out of his entire body, killing Navy after Navy. Smoke punch, Smoker shouted as the punch sends him crashing into the ship's lower deck. Destroy the ship, Smoker shouted as all the ships fired and destroy the ship. Flashback end. Joe got up as his right hand turned into a derringer. Please work, Joe piecing bullet. The bullet came out of the gun at Smoker, who laughed. You real are a fool. He did get to finish as the bullet pierces his shoulder as he scream out in pain. Shit, I can still only fire 1 per hour and still can't control it. Direction, Joe as he walked towards Smoker and took up his jut that had fell to the ground and started beating Smoker out of it when he dodges a sword. Are you alright, Smoker-sama? She asked. Then she saw his shoulder bullet can't hurt him, but this one did. I'm fine, Tashig, Smoker replied as guns on Joe's hands. Double release, Joe shouted as his attack was blocked but 2 massive men, the pacifistas. Deep under the sea. A ship with G unit was under the Navy bay. A man about 5'10" has black hair, brown eyes and was wearing a red headband around his head, a red cloak and sword behind his back, looks out the window and sighs. But the last time I voluntary for a mission that Naruto gives out before hearing what it is about, he shouted. Now I have to sit here and wait for a signal that may never come as he slammed his hands on the control panel. I, the King of Hearts, I don't wait for an invitation, he shouted. But Naruto. Naruto shifted his feet as the balls of magma came at him and quickly dodges, leaving them to crash into the ground and melt the ground. Is that all you have? Naruto shouted as he vanishes. Before Akainu could react, Naruto was in front of him, punching forward. Maximum force, Naruto shouted as his fist slammed into Akainu's stomach as blood spat out of the man's mouth before he sent crashing in a few Navy soldiers. That was easy, Naruto said as he looked around the battlefield when Akainu attacked again at high speed, but Naruto saw it and dodges the first punch, but the second caught in jaw that sends him crashing into the ground as Akainu attack again. Magma fist as the huge fist came crashing down on Naruto as Akainu started to laugh until Naruto came flying out without a burn mark on him. Thank God for the force, Naruto. There's no way you could be unarmed from that punch, it is one of my strongest attack. Akainu said as Naruto landed a few feet in front of him. Is he invincible? The pirate asked. There is no way the living force avoids that attack. A Navy shouted. How strong are you, Naruto Whitebeard? Battlefield. Magma bullet. As hundreds of magma bullet came flying at Naruto. Naruto only looked at it with a smile on his face as the balls went in different direction. I thought I told you that those attacks don't work on him, only to receive a punch from Akainu which sent a few feet away as Naruto regained his balance as Akainu charged at him again, only this time Naruto dodges his attack and a punch to Akainu's stomach. Off and another to the face sends him crashing into the ground as Naruto jumps into the air. Horse palm as Akainu got up and escapes as the attack left a handprint in the ground. With May was sent crashing into the ground hard, forming a crater in the ice, and Aokiji legs down on her as she rolled out of the way. Nova Dragon, a dragon-like head shoots out her mouth at fast speeds towards Aokiji, only for Aokiji to jump out of the way. Your attacks are getting slower, Aokiji said as May attacks him as they engage in hand-to-hand combat before May was sent flying by an uppercut from Aokiji. Off May as she spit out blood. I will beat you. Nova Beam. Ice Beam. The two attack collide and pushing against each, trying to push it back to its owner. Shit, I'm losing. May, I need to do something as the ice beam was pushing back her attack towards her and there was nothing she could do. Time to finish this, Aokiji as he pours more power into his attack as his pushed back May's attack right back at her, freezing her in a block of ice. With Conan. Conan shouted as she the block of ice noses May. Never take your eyes off the opponent, Conan heard from behind her as a kick of light speed sends her crashing into the ice. Off Conan cough up blood as she tries to get up when a light beam shoot through her shoulder and blew up beneath her, sending up into the hair as Kizaru attack her with a light sword, but she dodges it by turning her body into papers and scattered all over the place. Paper shurikens as her body was forming back, thousands upon thousands of paper shuriken rained down on Kizaru, who just stood there as the shurikens and killing the people behind him. Kizaru turned around after he heard the screaming, he saw that a lot of his precious Navy soldiers were behind and they were dead. Serves you right, if I can't get near you then those fools will suffer, Conan as she was breathing hard when he appeared behind and a kick sends her crashing into the ground. I have to do it at the right moment, Conan. Light cannon. The attack hit her as she crashes in the ground, causing the place shake. With Hinata. Conan, May, Hinata shouted as the two pacifistas attacks her as she scream out in pain. With Ryo. Hinata, he shouted as Hawk pushes back Ryo's sword as Ryo loses his balance. World Ultimate Slash as a purple slash hit Ryo across his chest as he screams out, the attack sends him crashing into the ice hill. With Mira. Hinata, Ryo Murahin shouted suddenly spider-like arms attaches itself to both her hands and legs as a pacifista attacks her. With Kurumu. Mira Rumu shouted when a giant hands came crashing down on her. With Joe. Mira, Kurumu Joe shouted as he runs towards them when Shikaku Senko. Bone Swar, right angle flash. Bone Sky Division. As a blue right angle cut in the shape a rectangular hit him. The ship. An old frail and thin man, his back was hunched and he was dressed in green royal clothes, awoken to find the place empty. That Team Naruto left me again, the man shouted as he took a bite Geminite as he heads toward the control room. With Naruto. Naruto dodges a punch from Akainu only to deliver one of his own, but Akainu caught it, then head-butted him as he draw back Naruto again, a deliver a knee to his stomach as he still held on to Naruto's hand. You should have stayed dead, Akainu shout as he went to hit Naruto with a magma punch. This time Naruto caught hit. You talk too much, Naruto replied as deliver a punch to Akainu's stomach as he cough up blood and then another to the face that sends him sailing across the ice. Naruto jumps into the air to finish off Akainu when he froze. There is a great disturbance in the force as he turns his attention to the battlefield where he saw all his crew members on the ground. May was frozen, he couldn't find Conan, the only thing he saw was a paper going into the ice, two pacifista walking towards Hinata, a vice admiral was also walking towards Mira and Joe, Kurumu was pinned down by a giant hand, and Ryo was covered in ice as the ice hill fell on him as Hawkeye walked towards him. I have to help them, Naruto said when he was hit. Light cannon. The attack hit Naruto in his back and sends he flying over the bay wall and over the sea as he tries to shake out the cobwebs when he hit again. Ice Age as the attack froze him in a block of ice as he falls into the sea. And cut. What if Naruto x Nico Robin Boa Hancock and Tashigi end here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.